Good evening and welcome to the IPA Premier League of Poole. We're at the fantastic Riley's Pool and Snooker Club here in Solihull once again, and we are getting ready for Phase 2. I am delighted to be joined in the commentary box by IPA Chairman Kevin Barton. Good evening, Kev.
Good evening, Simon.
Now, it's start of Phase 2. It was the end of Phase 1 last week, and we lost Mark Farnsworth, Liam Dunster, Ben Davis, Rona McCarthy from the tournament. Was that any of a surprise to you?
Well, when you look at the names there, it's like the who's who of Poole. I mean, you've got the Pro number 1 Mark Farnsworth, you've got Champions Cup winner Liam Dunster, you've got World Champ Ben Davis, and the legend Rona McCarthy. None of whom made it to Phase 2, as you said. That's got to be a shock in anyone's book.
Absolutely, yeah, no. And so it means tonight we have the start of Phase 2, and we've got Simon Ward, Neil Rayburn, Mark Boyle and Craig Marsh all in action. We have 5 matches for you, and a slight tweak to the format as well. Kev, what's happening tonight?
Yeah, well, if you thought Phase 1 was fast and furious, well, it's just going to be ramped up a notch or two. The matches are best of 6 frames, so first to 4 for these guys. That's what they'll be looking at to secure the win and get another 3 points to secure a top 4 position at the end of the next 3 nights, so that they can make it into finals night.
Yeah, and first up tonight we have third place Neil Raybone from England versus top of the table Simon Ward from Wales. I'm absolutely looking forward to that one. How do you think this one's going to go?
Well, I think all these matches are just too close to call. I mean, best of 6 frames, pretty much a coin flip. Both these guys are great players. We just had a recent tour event at the weekend, and neither of them made it to any of the finals. So they'll be looking to bounce back from that. And the guys at the top, so Simon Ward, Jimmy Carney, they'll be looking to get a few wins over the next couple of weeks to secure their places in the top 4.
Yeah, it's an interesting point you raised there. So Simon Ward and Jimmy Carney are both at the top on 17 points, and Neil Raybone on 15 points. Do you think there's less pressure on them because they have to do less at this stage compared to the guys from sort of 4, 5, and 6 in the order? Yeah,
potentially a little bit less pressure, but as we know, it can, with 3 points for a win, it can soon turn around. So losing matches is a bad habit to get into. So Simon Ward, he'll be looking to continue his fine run of form in this competition.
Yeah, and it's as it has been through the whole event, it's 30 seconds a shot. There is one 30-second extension per frame, but 30 seconds absolutely flies by, and it really isn't a lot of time for these players to work out what they're going to do.
And that's the beauty and the uniqueness of the Premier League. It is quick fire pool and great viewing, and generates its own drama and tension as well as the pressure of the situation.
Yeah, I think that's one thing for certain, that we're going to see plenty of drama through the whole of Phase 2. Plenty of twists and turns. It's such a short format that really anything can happen.
It certainly can, and we've seen that over the past 10 11 weeks, that literally anything can happen, and we're certainly in for a treat over the next couple of weeks as we work towards our Premier League winner.
There is Simon Ward from Wales. He's had to rely on a wild card to get into this event, but he has used his wild card very well because he is right at the top of the table. And both players looking pretty relaxed ahead of this match. I think there's just a couple of last-minute things happening out in the arena, but both players ready and raring to go.
Yeah, it's just giving them a few seconds to compose the thoughts and get ready for every match is going to be vital. They've got 5 matches in this second phase of the Premier League, and they'll have already calculated what they need what points they think they need to get to secure a top 4 space for finals night.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right there, because I think that's exactly what Simon was doing last week before the qualification to phase 2. He was really analysing it all the way down to the finest detail. But it is Neil Raybone that won the lag, and it is him to break and get this match underway.
And he's straight away plotted run off the break, so good start for Neil, good break, but just come a little bit awkward there, I think, the way it's finished. That white was moving nicely towards the centre of the table, got a couple of nudges, and ended up stuck behind that red ball, so he's got no obvious pot to go at here.
Yeah, no obvious pot. He's got very little time with a 30-second shot clock, and you don't really want to have to use your extension for this first shot, because you're only looking for a quick safety. You know, it's going to be some sort of containing shot. So he's going to have to come up with something pretty quickly here.
I think his hands are tied here. I think he's probably going to have to try and play this this crazy plant. The 2 yellows. I don't really see with that red. With the red over the bottom left hand, or top left as we're looking, bottom left now. I thought he may have been forced into at least going for some sort of plant.
The one thing he didn't want to do was leave Simon. He didn't mind leaving Simon a yellow, but he really didn't want to leave him a red. But he has left him a red.
He's tried to double kiss it in, and it's turned out okay for Neil in the end. But yeah, it was a slightly defensive safety shot he played there. I thought first frame he may have looked to attack a little bit more.
Possibly, but it was odds against making that plant, wasn't it?
Well, yeah, but the alternative was to leave Simon a shot, and he almost made the ball.
So you're the IPA chairman, and I want to ask you a question about statistics. Do you class Simon's as a missed pot?
I would say that is a missed pot.
Okay, it's a tough score here on the IPA. It's a missed pot.
Yeah, I would say that is a missed pot. It is a tough school in the Premier League.
So Neil just overran his previous positional shot. Wanted to be on the either of the reds to the top of the table, but had to reroute, come down for the ones at the bottom, back up the top, and then back down the bottom. So a bit of travelling to do, but wide open table.
Yes, it's just the dream start really that you want in these short races. And one thing that we have got extra for you tonight is an extra match, because we've been having 4 matches every night in the Premier League. We're in for a treat tonight, because the next 3 nights we've got 5 matches.
Yeah, shorter races, more matches. Lots of things can happen, lots of changes through the table. It's going to be very exciting.
Yeah, it is. And only one place to watch it, here on Free Sports. Needs that white to slow down. It's just got away from him a little bit, but I think he'll still expect to pot this. Usually so precise with his white ball, Neil. It's so unusual to see him run out of position by so much.
And it's one of those that if you're going to run out of position, you'd rather be slightly short than slightly long.
He's missed it.
That really is a surprise. Did not expect that from Neil Raybone.
Although, looking at the table, what Simon's got to go at, he's still a very, very strong favourite.
Yeah. Talk me how you clear this table up, Kev. There's a lot of problems.
Yeah, nothing that 2 doubles, a couple of plants, and a routine one over the pocket might not. So he's going to look to try and get this white really tight in, but wherever he leaves the white, he's pretty much going to leave Neil a 1 cushion escape.
Yeah, I think he's forced into going for the miraculous here, because there really isn't anything else. And that's a good start.
What a great start that is.
Yeah, the extreme amount of right-hand side on that to create the angle to develop the balls. These 3 at the top now work themselves out, but Still got those two on the rails at the bottom end of the table that are a problem, and then the one nearest the black.
Yeah, I think if he can clear these three nearest the white ball, then he'll be looking to take the one down the rail on the bottom cushion that we're looking at now, then double the other yellow that's on the other cushion opposite to leave the yellow that's nearest the black into the bottom right corner. It's easy from here, but if any man can get them, it's Simon Ward. He may be a little bit thin here to come for the one on the right cushion, so he's bringing the white down.
That's a great shot.
Well, this will be, what an amazing start if he can take these out. He's going to probably look to go double-double for his last two yellows. Don't think he can get position.
Yeah, he would love to be able to have a fraction more angle on this yellow, so maybe develop one of the other two, but can't do that from here.
Yeah, he's accepting his medicine. Won't want to hit this one too hard. So that he can leave the right angle for the second yellow on the right hand cushion. Oh, wow. That was the one I thought he would get.
Just getting excited with the prospect of that finish. I was just thinking it really wasn't on. To get down to the double, I actually thought he was going to make that clearance then. That was incredible. What a dramatic opening frame. What a way to start the night.
Yeah, he'd almost done the hard work, and yeah, I expected him to get those two doubles. Such is the talent of Simon at those kind of shots, and it was more of a shock he didn't get it in the end.
Yeah, it really was. Once he got that far, the only thing I thought he might run out of position on the next double, but once he got there, great effort. But it is Neil Raybone that wins the frame, and now we can have a look at why Neil Raybone is third in the table. A very, very consistent phase one. Just the two losses to the world champion Ben Davis, 5-3, and to Rona McCarthy, 5-3 also, but plenty of draws, plenty of wins, and that's why he finds himself right at the top of the table.
Yeah, noticeable his last four outings, only one win, 3 draws in those 4 matches. Don't know if that's got any relevance on tonight at all, but certainly started off a lot stronger than how he ended.
Yeah, only the one win, but he kept picking up points, not losing. You know, that's 3 points your opponent's not making as well, and with it being such a tight table, you know, really helped his cause.
And sort of immediately after the first frame, you know, the pressure ramps up a little bit onto Simon, because you know if he loses this one and goes 2-0 down in a race to 4, the pressure really is on.
Absolutely, yeah, and especially as he may not feel so bad about that finish at the end, although because he got so close to making it, he'd have been annoyed to miss that double. I think he'll be more annoyed about the first ball that he missed, whether he tried to double kiss the ball over the pocket in, or whether he tried to make the red over jaw first onto the pocket. But either way, he'd have expected to make it, and had he made it, you'd fancy him to make the finish before Neil got in first.
Yeah, as I said, it was more of a shock he didn't get that finish in the end, but you know, he's back at the table now.
Yeah, and this finish it sort of hinges on the last two, 3 balls. He needs to have fairly precise position once he gets into the area around the black. It's one of those little delicate finishes that when you look at it first glance, you think, oh, he should get these really easily, but you know, only has to take a semi-loose positional shot, and you can run out of position fairly quickly with these 3 balls.
Yeah, so he wants to leave, when he puts this one into the right centre, he wants to leave the white as straight as possible onto the red into the bottom right corner, so that he can just drop it in, stun the white ball, maybe screw it back a couple of inches, and then just drop that red into the right middle. It's all about the angle. Now he's just off there, so he may screw back onto the 2 yellows.
Played to perfection. Great shot from Simon Ward. He may be forced just to drop this one in and take the black to the long pocket. May not be able to get the white out to the centre pocket.
I think he'll just stun the white ball so that he can get his cueing in the gap. Might be slightly hampered. This looks straight into the top corner, and that looks pretty close. Straight in the centre of the bag.
Well, if there was any thoughts of Simon Ward showing any signs of frustration from that first frame, I think that breaking dishes put that to bed. That's a great way to respond to a couple of mistakes, and he does tie the scores up at 1-1. Spoke about Neil Raybone losing a couple of frames on the way to a couple of matches on the way to ending phase 1. It's also Simon Ward that's lost a couple of matches. First match of the event against Craig Marsh, 5-3, and against Neil actually in the group stages. I'm not sure if that will have any relevance to tonight, but you can see there no more losses and just a couple more wins compared to Neil, when Neil had a couple more draws, is why he's at the top of the table rather than third.
Yeah, interestingly, again, we looked at Neil's results, and Simon Ward has got stronger as the Premier League has gone on. You know, his last 5 results there, 3 wins and 2 draws, compared to Neil's last 4 matches of 3 draws and 1 win. So, you know, you'd say Ward is the form horse at the moment, and probably based on that is a very marginal favourite. But you know, best of 6, it's it literally is anyone's to win.
Time running.
So Neil's going to hope for another ball off the break, but if he does make another ball, he wants to have a good opening shot, not have the white tied up like last time. Possibly didn't catch this break anywhere near as clean as his first break, but a much, much better result for him. He has made a ball. He does have a couple of good options.
Yes, you'll see this white just spin off to the side there, so that just shows that he didn't quite nail that break as well as he would have liked. He's probably looking at reds. If you can see this red on the well, it's the uppermost red there into the top left pocket.
Tricky finish though. There's
work to do either way.
If he takes yellows, which he obviously is now, yes, he has 3 tricky balls, but there's 3 tricky balls in the same area, so it kind of makes it a little bit easier to develop them, because he can kind of do 2 or 3 of them in one shot.
Yeah, I'm just thinking if he's looking to put this one into the centre pocket and screw into this area to try and disturb some of the balls. Looks like he is. That's nice.
Yeah, if he can drop this one into the centre, which he can, it's a lot harder than it looks on this camera angle. But if this one drops into the centre, then everything's opened up for him quite nicely. That was a very nice shot he's just played.
Yeah, I think he played that absolutely perfectly. He knew this. He could drop this in. Yeah, as you say, they are a lot harder than what they look, those shots. Still not...
I think he's looking at a cannon here. I think he's got enough angle on this yellow, or too much angle on this yellow, and he's almost forced into sort of nudging this across.
It's played absolutely inch perfect again from Neil Raybone. Just developing that yellow just to leave it the right angle so that it can pot it, and then leave the yellow just to the bottom left of it. That's looks simple, but very well worked out. Again, he just needs to judge the angle when the white comes off the cushion, looking to bring the white off the cushion in between the gap between the black and the red. Doesn't want to be kissing any balls. And again, played absolutely perfectly. And this is now routine. Very impressive clearance here from Neil. Just responding to Simon's break and dish and just saying, I'm not going anywhere.
Yeah, I was just thinking exactly that. It really is very, very impressive. He's responded. and he does take a 2-1 lead. And 2-1 lead in a race to 4 is very, very useful.
Yeah, Neil just keeping his nose in front there, on serve as it were.
Yeah, and there we go. Have a look at the stats. It's a break and dish apiece, and yeah, it's just that first frame. Both players missed a pot, but since then it's been 2 break and dishes. So, be interesting to see if Simon can respond, and we will find out after the break. Welcome back, and we are currently 2-1 to Neil Raybone, and it's Simon Ward to break. See if he can respond to Neil's break and dish. It is Neil on the left and Simon on the right. Neil from England, Simon from Wales. So at 2-1, for Simon to win this, he has to win 2 of the next 3 frames. But I guess when you're out there as a player, you don't really view it that way. You're just thinking next frame, next shot.
Yeah, if he wants to win the match, he needs to win 3 frames and another 3 frames.
Yeah, ignore my maths, Kev. It's never been my strength.
Out of the next 3 frames. So, tall order. Neil wins to win 2 of the 3, of course. So, let's just see how it all pans out.
I tell you what, when you say it like that, it sounds impossible for either player to win this match.
Yeah, there could well be a lot of 3-alls over the next 3 nights of the Premier League. So, such is the closeness of these players. That's a great break from Simon, and these yellows are just gathering near the pocket. But I think he'll be looking at reds.
Yeah, you watch this white from Simon; it flies off at all angles. Simon Ward is definitely from the school of thinking that I'm going to hit the pack absolutely as hard as I can, and whatever happens after that, happens after that. Whether the white flies around the table, he doesn't look to control the white like some players do. He is just giving it everything.
Yes, he doesn't hold back, that's for certain. And you saw the contrast there that Neil didn't quite catch his break as well. His white skewed off to the side just as Simon's did, but Simon's been hit with so much more power that he gets much more movement on the object balls.
Yeah, and having watched Simon a lot, it's one of the things you actually notice with Simon is that his white will fly around. He is still generating a lot of power through the pack, even though the white's flying off in all strange angles. Whereas a lot of players, you'll see them. We're going to see it tonight with Craig Marsh. He's going to look to try and just draw that white straight back down the centre of the table. That's when you know he's breaking well because of the control he has on the white. Simon definitely doesn't look at it that way.
Yeah, it looks like he's been working out, just especially for his break.
Yeah, he's a strong lad. Some of you might be slightly confused. He's potted 2 yellows. He's decided to take reds, so he still has the choice after the break, regardless of what colour set he pots. He still has the choice to go either colour set, and more often than not, when you pot 2 or 3 of one colour, the other colour is actually easier to take out because you have more balls to work yourself around the table to finish off the dish.
Yeah, that's right. If you're new to black ball, this fast attacking style of pool. If you break and you put anything from the break, as long as it's not the black or the white, then that just keeps you at the table, and then it's the next legal ball that you pot is the colour that you're on.
Yeah, Simon just taking an extra couple of seconds. In fact, he's actually taking his extension for this shot, and that's because he's landed with way too much angle on this red. He wanted to be nearly straight, and now he's got to avoid the yellows at the bottom of the table.
I think he can screw back onto the side cushion and hold for the black into the bottom right hand corner. Well, he couldn't, and he's left this awkward.
Yeah, it's not what he played, that's for certain. He wasn't trying to catch that yellow, but he'll be happy that even he's gone wrong, but he's still got a shot at it. It's tough.
Yeah, this is going into the middle pocket, the lower one as we look. Now he's gone for the double. Looks good.
What a great shot. Fantastic from Simon Ward. Ran into trouble there on a finish that he would have expected to be routine, but no problems. Comes up with a big double. Ties the scores up at 2-2. And that's now 3 breaking dishes on the trot. Absolutely fantastic standard in this match. Incredible to be playing under this pressure with this time, with only 30 seconds a shot, and be coming up with this standard. Very, very impressive stuff.
Yeah, and if Simon Ward wants to win the match, well, that's the first of the 3 frames that he needs.
We have a look at Simon's recent history, and you talked about the disappointing British Open he had this weekend, losing in round 2 to Keith Robertson 7-3, and losing to his good friend Christian Phillips 8-5 in the last 16. For Simon Ward, who goes into those events expecting to win, expecting to go deep, it definitely is a disappointing weekend, and he needs to respond from that tonight.
Yes, he's certainly more familiar with the latter stages of events, and yeah, he's had a couple of tour events there that have not quite gone to plan, but you know, he's a class player, and you see there losing in the final of the European Professional to Jordan Shepherd. You know, that's his familiar territory, semis and finals. That's he does generally have a very good conversion rate. You know, if he gets past the early rounds, he does have a very good conversion rate of getting to finals and winning tournaments.
And he's very, very consistent. He seems to win a tournament or 2 every single season.
Yeah, class player. As is Neil Rayburn, breaking off now, and again we saw that white just fire off to the side, but they've come out nice, and he's got an opportunity to reply again.
Yeah, it's one of those, he's caught that, even though it has come off to the side, and his previous break come off to the side as well, he's caught that better than the previous break. He's still got more power going through it, and he's made a couple of balls. He's got a very big split, and he'll be absolutely thrilled. As much as he's pulling a bit of a grimace, he's going to be absolutely thrilled with this opportunity. I think the three reds in the middle of the table. They take care of themselves. It's just the 2 reds that are together on the right hand side. It's just a case of whether he needs to. If he can pot the top one, not a problem. If they need a little nudge open, then he needs to play one very good positional shot, either off this ball or the next ball.
Yeah, I think he'll be putting this one into the middle, just leaving a little bit of angle. You can either take the red that's almost on the blue spot, if it was a snooker table, into the corner. And you can see him there just queuing it up. And he wants to kiss onto the bottom or the left hand of those 2 reds as we look now. So it leaves that upper one into the centre.
Just because of the way he's looking at this, Kev, I wonder whether he thinks he can play on this top one. Maybe play it in with some right hand side, sort of spin it in and nudge the other one towards the corner. Doesn't look like it, does it? But that's obviously what he's played.
Does it double?
Or maybe he plays on. Yeah, he doesn't like it though.
He can certainly double it, but the white will glance the bottom of the 2 reds and knock that towards the cushion.
If he's playing the double, he would want to have a little bit more angle to get the white out of the way.
If he can make the white miss that red, which he has
shot.
done,
Great shot.
he will leave the red into the centre, which he has done. This has been class. A class match so far. 4 dishes on the trot, but none of them easy. Work to be done, but these guys are up to the job.
No, I'm just blown away, to be honest with you. You know, both these players have made these finishes look very, very simple. To do 4 break dishes on the trot under this pressure, with the time, not just the pressure of the tournament and pressure of the situation, but the time pressure as well. That 30 seconds, when you're out there, that goes so quickly. You're hearing the beeps counting down from 10 so quickly.
You can see there from Ward's highlights, IPA highlights, numerous finals and semi-finals over the past couple of years. And
yeah, that list there, that's just from the last 18 months. And the big one in there is the World Championships, where he lost to his good friend Ben Davis in a deciding frame of a deciding set in what was a truly brilliant night at pool. It's an absolute shame there really had to be a winner in that match, but he could have quite easily walked away with that trophy the way that night went.
Yeah, that's probably, and I've seen a lot of pool in my time, probably the greatest match in pool history, with everything that was going on, the live television on Free Sports, the exciting sets format, the deciding frame thriller. It was the match that had everything.
So here we go. This is the last frame of this match, and Simon Ward needs to take it to earn a draw. Neil Raybone is guaranteed the draw. He needs to win it to get the win.
But for once, Simon's come up dry. Quite put as much into that one. Just held back a little bit, probably trying to control it just a teeny weeny bit.
Yeah, right smile from Simon. He knows there's nothing he can do. He's over to Neil, and he needs some help if he's to get anything out of this match. It's probably the hardest or the messiest table that's been left in this match as well. This is going to be tricky for Neil to manufacture a clearance from here.
Yep, looks like he's going for yellows. There's an argument for reds, and probably just a couple of yellows he needs to move, but he's got balls that he can develop them with, which is the important thing. Don't think we'll see a safety. No, we will, but that's going to go in, I think. Yep. Just tried to take control of the frame by covering that bag, but didn't quite work out, and now this frame is really in the balance.
I think it's fair to say that Neil is one of the players at the top end of the game that will play that shot. He's definitely a more of a percentage player, and if he feels that the way to win a frame is to take a pocket and to pull back a little bit, he's much more likely to take that than say Simon Ward is, or Craig Marsh, or a few of the other top players that we have in the Premier League. I think he's got that in his armoury.
Yeah, didn't want to, even though it's 3-2 up, he didn't want to push the boat out too much. He knows how important this frame is. If he can get 3 points on the board in his first match in this second stage of the Premier League, that sets him up really well, and closes that gap on Simon and Jimmy Carney at the top.
I think actually with the win, he leapfrogs them and goes to the top. I think. I'd have to check the table, but I think that's the case, and that is where you want to be.
We'll see Simon just drift this red over towards this bag, just to try and block that yellow into that corner bag.
I always think of these situations as a bit of a race. Neil's trying to develop his yellows whilst keeping Simon at arm's length, and if he can open up his yellows before Simon manages to open up his reds, then he can earn himself an opportunity.
Yeah, it's definitely cat and mouse. It's who can generate the first chance. And Neil's just probably slightly ahead in the frame, but nothing clear cut at the moment.
It's interesting that it looks like, on the face of it, he's covered the pockets, both bottom corner pockets, but both of them look like they're big pockets for the reds further up on the rail, so they can be developed. So if this drops in and it's not going to reach, if that had dropped in, then Simon could have been aggressive if he wanted to be. It's probably not the right way to go, but probably had an option for it.
Yeah, I think Neil may well, so this yellow that's above the white as we look, you could think about doubling it, or he could just, he's going to try and secure this bag, is he? Yeah.
Yeah, so Neil just trying to cover up that big pocket that I was talking about. Didn't want to give Simon the opportunity of making that red down the rail and playing it off the yellow to open up his other red.
I think there's still room for that red. As very often happens in matches, in match play, the last frame becomes a little bit cat and mouse. Simon trying to salvage a point, Neil trying to take all 3 points. A lot at stake.
Yeah, and the question I've got is, Simon looks like he wants to... is he thinking to pop this red down the rail, or does he just want to take the pocket, almost reverse the situation?
I think he's just going to put the red.
He was thinking more aggressively.
Yeah, it was a difficult shot. He would have, ideally wanted to be right behind it. He would have had to been so precise on that shot. But he's moved the yellow away from the bag, so he's achieved that objective. Neil's just going to try and secure this bag, tie that white up. So it's still even, really. There's no.
You say it's even. If I offered you reds or yellows here, which way would you want?
Probably reds.
Okay, well that's good, because I was thinking yellows, so that's good.
But that's why I'm sat here.
And I'm sat here as well.
It's a close call. I mean, Neil's just going to try and work these yellows now. He may just try and nudge this yellow that's nearest the right corner, and just give it a little nudge, get it a little bit closer to the bag.
I just think this situation favours Neil Rayburn. He's definitely more adept at playing this style of pool, and don't get me wrong, Simon Ward, you don't get to being one of the top players in the world without being able to grind out a frame like this if you absolutely had to. But I just think Neil's probably the more comfortable, especially because Neil's already got the draw in the bag. It just feels there's a fraction more pressure on Simon. Simon's played very well in this match, and if he one mistake here and he could be getting absolutely nothing out of it.
Yeah, so Neil again is just going to, he doesn't want to pop that. So can you see the red on the right cushion? And he'll try and drift that down. Is he going to play a skill shot? He tried. Just misjudged it.
Yeah, just potted that a fraction thick. I'd love to have potted that just a fraction thinner and caught the yellow over the pocket, and so wasn't thinking of it in a way of going for a finish, but certainly in a way of gaining more control in the frame.
Yeah, if he could have potted the yellow with the white ball, play the skill shot, then he would have tucked that white right behind that red.
Yes, there's probably a few of you at home going, what are you talking about? Well, in the black ball rules, you can, if you pot your own ball, you can pot your opponent's ball at the same time. So as long as you fulfill all the other elements of a legal shot, you can pot your ball and open up, pot your own opponent's ball as well, which really does give you a lot more options to be attacking and to open up frames.
So it's getting close now for Neil before he tries to go for the finish and win the match. He's taking that opportunity there to develop that yellow right in the middle of the table, and really he's just got a few more shots, and then he'll be going for the win.
Yeah, those of you thinking, how has Simon missed that? He certainly wasn't trying to pot it. He just doesn't want to get rid of any of his balls on the table. He wants to keep them all on the table. The more balls you pot in this situation, the further behind you are in a bizarre way.
To be honest, I'm not sure why he played that shot he played, because that pocket is serving him no purpose at the moment. So I thought he may have potted that and then tried to do something with this red on the right hand cushion. Maybe drift it down over to this corner pocket.
Simon would be slightly annoyed by that. He wanted to cover all the other yellows on the table, but the yellow over the pocket. He wants to almost try and force him into potting the one over the pocket, or going to try and hit one of the other ones out of a snooker. Of course, if he did that, he'd have to also hit another cushion. So he'll be putting a little bit of pressure on Neil, but didn't get the shot right. Yeah, similar sort of shot there for Simon. He was still trying to do the same thing. Wants to force him into potting one over the pocket. Very, very difficult to block the angles off from that shot.
Yeah, that's a clever shot from Neil, because what Simon is wanting Neil to do is leave the white in the top right hand corner of the table as we look, and then he could try and play the shot that he tried a couple of shots ago and try and wedge Neil into this bottom left corner. So he's forced to pot the one over the rail. Yeah, just misjudged that one. So it's getting pretty close now to, I think Neil maybe only needs one more shot. Although he's still got to be careful, but you know, he's got an opportunity now to develop that yellow that's nearest the white ball.
It's one of those tricky situations, isn't it? That Neil's edging himself further and further ahead, but you've got to understand when it's the right time to go for it and when it's... Sometimes you can wait too long.
Yeah,
and I'm not saying Neil's done that here. He really hasn't. He hasn't had that opportunity to go for it yet. But it definitely is a skill to understand when the right time to go for it, and whenever he goes for it, you're risking not getting it, and then you're behind again. But at the moment, the way it keeps going out, he's just going to edge himself further and further ahead.
I'm not sure about that shot from Simon. Not really done anything with that red. Just putting the white at the top end of the table, but not really causing Neil any problems. I think he'd like that one again.
Yeah, it's one of those, also a strange situation. I think both players would be quite happy if their opponent went for the finish, because it would just try and do something aggressive, because if it doesn't come off and they're odds against, it's going to
make it easier. Skill shot here. Oh, he double kissed the red.
Really, what he was attempting a skill shot. Talked about it earlier. Pot his ball, and he could hit his ball, pot his opponent's ball, pot his ball as well. That's a legal shot, but now that it hasn't gone in, it's a foul. Although it was a very clever time to play that shot, because yes, he's fouled, but he's got a red over both corner pockets, and Neil can only use his free shot to pot one of them. He can't do both in the same shot, or it's very difficult to do both in the same shot.
think he'll just drop the yellow onto the red. He'd have preferred that yellow to stay over the pocket. So again, I still think this frame is still in the balance. They've got 4 balls each. They've got one that's tied up each. And they've both got one pretty close to a bag down at this bottom end of the table. So it's still in the balance. And well, I think that makes Ward slight favourite, that shot. He's going to try and play delicate safety near this red, just try and bounce the red off the cushion in front of the white. Something like that.
Played to perfection. He's got the total snooker. The reason you say Ward is slight favourite is because Ward has got 1 bad ball left, and Raybone has got 3, and that makes the difference.
Yeah, quite bizarre that Simon committed the foul, and 1 shot later is in control of the frame. That's well judged from Neil.
It's not the worst result for Neil, as you say. It's well judged. It's covered off that red that was clearly open for Simon before, and now it isn't. So now Simon has 2 bad balls, and Neil still has the 3. So it's it's still in the balance, but you'd still rather just be reds.
That was a very good touch shot there from Simon.
Live ball time running.
He's just going to drop this yellow down. Be careful not to pot it. Oh, that is what he didn't want.
That's an absolute disaster for Neil Raybone.
So there, that ball went absolutely gun barrel straight, so I think he's just misjudged it.
I think he can get this yellow on the right hand side in behind the red and try and turn the tables on that pocket. Just about. Didn't want to flick the red, but he has, but it's come out okay. You'd think that Simon wants to try and cover the yellow that's on towards the top left pocket off his next shot, try and force Neil into potting or playing one of the yellows that are there in this shot now.
Well, I think he's got 2 options. Well, he's just trying to bring that red down into the business area of the table. I thought he may have tried to come off the red nearest the centre bag and put the white up behind that red that he's just hit. But he's just trying to keep, if his reds are pawns, he's just trying to keep his pawns in active play. So he's bringing it down to the business end of the table. So that's opened it right up now.
Almost a bit of dejection from Neil when he played that shot. He kind of feels like this frame has slid away from him. And don't get me wrong, Simon still has a lot of work to do, but Neil knows full well that the table's definitely turned, and from that foul that Simon hit, he's sort of gone favourite.
I think the fact that he's potted that, it means he's looking to play some sort of combination shot.
Yeah, red to the bottom left, white fly into the cluster. It's a great pot, but unfortunately the red hasn't come out to be pottable directly. Now, can he pot it off the yellow? That's possibly on.
I think he may have to play a containing shot. I'm not sure he can get the white out enough.
Well, we'll know after this next shot.
Can he force this through? It's a difficult pot.
Okay, he can. So, red off the yellow.
Fantastic shot. Can he hit it direct, or is he playing the white off the cushion first? I think it's direct.
Oh,
And
what a
this
great
has
shot.
come out absolutely perfect. What a superb shot there from Simon Ward. And ties things up. First match in stage 2 of the Premier League ends 3-all. Great match.
It really was a great match. We had some good couple of break dishes, and I think 4 break dishes in the match. But that the timing of Simon going for that finish was fantastic, and saw the opportunity, great cut, developed the balls, and then made sure the last couple of balls. A fantastic finish to a great match.
Yeah, and a cracking start to the Premier League for stage 2, and Simon will be relieved to at least get a point out of that match, and keeps him at the top of the table.
And we will take a break now, but we'll be back in a couple of minutes for match 2. Welcome back. We have just seen Simon Ward and Neil Raybone in a 3-3 draw in an absolutely cracking match. It went right down to the wire. A point each keeps Simon Ward at the top of the table, and it keeps Neil Raybone third, but he is 3 points clear of 4th place. And you can see there, next up for us we have Scotland's Mark Boyle versus Wales's Craig Marsh.
Yeah, and what a great match we've got in store here. The 2 winners from the tour events, from the professional and the open events the weekend that's just gone. So both guys in cracking form, and yet again another great match.
Yeah, this is without doubt the form match of the night, because both players are with recent silverware. And both players have been know what it's like to claim titles in the last 3 days.
Yeah, Mark Boyle, winner of the open event, and Craig Marsh, winner of the professional event. So These guys in red hot form.
And it is Mark Boyle that has won the lag, so he will break. In a even number match, so a match where draws are available, Kev, do you think breaking first is an advantage? Do you think the lag carries as much importance as an odd number match, a race 2 match?
Yeah, I think it does. It's a short race, but you still want to get as many of your breaks in as possible, and the only way you can do that is by breaking first. Very rarely would you see a tennis player win their version of the lag and get the opponent to serve first. Some do. Phil Taylor at the darts, he used to.
I think that was more mind games, though. Do you not think that was more like I'm going to give it to you anyway? Because I just think if it goes 3-2, if you break second, if you goes 3-2, you get to break in. It's not the decider, but it's the, whether you're 3-2 up or 3-2 down, you get that break for the deciding frame, if you like, whether that's a draw or a win. I think there's maybe something in breaking second in an even numbered race match.
I'm not convinced. I think you want to get your frames in, your breaks in as soon as you can, and not leave it to the end.
Yeah. No, I can see the argument that way as well. Especially if you can make a good first break and make a statement with your first visit to the table. Let's see if Mark Boyle can do that.
Yeah, if you've got a break like mine, then it's potentially an option. But these guys with the big breaks, the power players, really want to get up and running, just like Mark Boyle has done there and smashed in 3 reds.
Well, absolutely on cue. Mark Boyle comes up with the biggest break we have seen tonight. Look at that white, straight up and down the centre of the table. Absolutely what he was trying to do. Made 3 reds, as you say, and probably go yellows.
Yeah, 100% he'll be going for yellows. There's a nice little pattern there for him to go at. You can see he's a little bit short with that one. It's a little bit of tentativeness on his first positional shot, but he's going to look to pot these 3 in the top end of the table. Then the yellow that's stuck to that red just in the lower part of the table, he's going to put that into the bottom left corner, and that leaves him a nice route down to the 2 at right at the bottom of the table. He's just having to slightly change because of that poor positional shot. So it looks like he's going to take these 2 down at the bottom end of the table first.
Yeah, you could just hear the time pressure and under. You could hear the beeps in the background. That's for the indicates the last 10 seconds, and I think he played that shot with 3 seconds to spare. So just shows you the constant time pressure these players are under.
Yeah, the key to this clearance now is this next positional shot, and Mark Boyle is one of the best cushion players around. He's got a couple of ways he can play this, depending how he's feeling. Looks like he's going to screw the white back, past the black. Again, just a little bit short of pace.
Yeah, white's going to have to travel a little bit further on this next shot in and out of bulk area. And every time you're making the white travel further, there's more chance of it going wrong.
Retrieve the situation there, so now he's going to pop this one into the top left corner and then just bring the white out to the centre of the table, just to leave this nice easy yellow into the bottom left corner.
Yeah, straight is perfect, doesn't want lots of angle on the next shot. Straight is perfect, and he looks like he is all but straight. Controls the white nicely in this simple black to take a 1-0 lead with a fantastic break and finish to start this match. In it goes, so he does take that 1-0 lead, and what a great start. A statement made from Mark to beginning of this match. And we're going to get a few words with Simon Ward.
Joined by Simon Ward. Simon, every point's going to be vital at this stage of the Premier League. You must be pleased with salvaging a point in that one.
Yeah, absolutely. It was a good start. It was sort of, the last format over 8 frames was very sort of touch and go, but this shorter format is even more so. You're playing by the seat of your pants, I think. But yeah, I was pleased to get a point in the end. It was a pretty good standard match, 4 break finishes in the middle of the match. 1 scrappy frame at the start and 1 tactical one at the end.
Yeah, I was going to say, in such a short match, it was a real high quality affair.
Yeah, so I thought I played quite well, and the shorter format it means you almost concentrate more because you know that you've got no room for error. And when I was 3-2 down, I just thought if I get one chance just to salvage a point, I'll go for it, and luckily I got one.
Is there a change in mindset at all in the shorter races? How do you approach a match that's pretty much a sprint?
I don't think it's a different mindset, but for me, obviously, I'm at the top of the table at the moment. I'm almost trying to protect the lead, so I need to be conscious. I need to just play my own game, and hopefully the wins will come rather than trying to sort of sneak a point here and there.
Have you set your stall on what you think? How many points you need?
I don't think I need too many, hopefully, because I think I'm 5 points clear of 4th place at the moment, and that's really the aim to get into the final stage. I'm hoping maybe 2 wins maybe might do it. So if I can get them tonight, that'll be great.
Okay, well, good luck, Simon.
Thank you. Cheers. Thanks.
Always great to get the players' thoughts after their matches, and I think Simon's absolutely right. It really was a very good standard first match and a great way to start phase 2 of this Premier League. And back to the match in progress, and great break from Craig, and he's up and running with his first chance. Definitely fair to say he's got more work to do than Mark had, but if this shot goes well, they could all pop open nicely for him. And I did say if it goes well, and perhaps maybe looking to concentrating on the cannon a little more than the pot, it's come unstuck. It was one of those awkward shots, Kev, wasn't it, where he wanted to be able to generate a fair bit of pace into it, but it was just a cute enough angle that he had to be careful with the pot.
Yeah, it's another of these frames where they're jostling for position just to try and sneak an advantage. We've said it before, no doubt we'll say it again over the next few nights. Every frame, every shot is absolutely critical, and in these races to 4 and best of 6s, they can't afford any mistakes. So every frame is vital, every shot. So these scrappy frames that they're going to have to work hard at to make sure that they remain competitive in the frame, and at the end of the phase 2, every point will make a difference.
Just a containing shot there from Mark. Didn't look thrilled with it.
Yeah, I think yellows are in the box seat here. I think Craig's going to just nudge this yellow out, leave the white top cushion, and then he potentially might be looking to go for the clearance at his next visit. He's got one on the side rail, but he's got balls. He'll be thinking about how he can use the balls he's got to try and develop that one. He doesn't need too many invitations, doesn't Craig, to go for the finish. Very, very attacking player. Another of these Welsh contingents that seem to be able to pot them from anywhere. And I think I'll be disappointed with that one. Really wanted to get that out another 2 or 3 inches. That was, I think he's just laughing at that shot.
Yeah, normally Craig's very adept with the rest. Kind of a very good snooker background. Played snooker to a high level for a number of years. And,
Extension cord.
Surprised to see that sort of error.
Yes, I think he was. If he had developed that yellow, he was 1 shot away then from going for the clearance. As it is now, he's going to have to bide his time a little bit more now.
Yeah, the problem he's got is that yellow, isn't it? It's so far away from the rest of his work that it's hard to create an angle to go into that ball. So until he solves that problem, he can't really give any consideration to the finish.
it looks like the red and yellow is a plant. So if he could, I was just going to say, if he could plant onto it.
Oh, it's a great call, Kev, that really is. He'll be thrilled with the outcome of the top of the table. He'll be slightly disappointed with the way it's come out of the bottom.
He's cued that really well. Get the cue in, very little effort, timed it really well.
And in the end, he's absolutely thrilled that that yellow didn't drop. If that yellow drops, it's very unfortunate.
I think he might have had a little rude grin if that yellow had dropped.
I was about to say, I think we're in a situation where Mark may feel like he's forced into try and chase the finish, but missed his first ball.
Yeah, so Craig straight away, he's going to look to pop this one in the bottom corner, smash into the red and yellow that are together, develop those two, and then he'll be off and running. He's not quite got into that one. Just misjudged the cannon. Craig's certainly one of those players, shows his emotions. Again, it's not one of his best. He's left Mark a little sniff here now. Difficult opener, he's going to have to slot this red to the top right hand corner. But he doesn't have to put too much pace on it, just has to cue it well, and a good chance.
Great shot from Mark, and as you say, that shot will give him a chance to win this frame. Still needs to work out those two balls on the side rail, but you could plant them, you could play into them, but I think probably the plant, because it's the control shot.
Yeah, it's just the plant is all about making sure he leaves the right angle. He could well play it. If that one slows down, that looks a pretty good angle. I think he may well play this next. I think that's almost perfect where he's left the white ball.
Yeah, I like the confidence in that shot. You can see a lot of players playing that shot in a negative way. You know, play it slower. If you miss it, you're going to take the pocket. But if you play that slower, then that red could bounce out and become an awkward ball. It could get blocked off by those other yellows. So he's fully committed to the finish. And now that he's made it, they are wide open for him.
Yeah, just typical of the confidence that he's playing with after his victory at the weekend. He's got his lucky shirt on. He had that on at the weekend as well. And just as we said that, he misses an absolute sitter.
Well, that is incredible. I cannot believe. I kind of feel like he must have had a bad contact or something. I cannot believe that Mark Boyle could miss that ball and missed it by a fair distance. Craig trying to develop the yellow on the right hand side, because the red has, even though Mark missed it, the red did block the pocket for that yellow, so Craig still needs to work that ball out. It's not a guaranteed finish by any stretch.
Yeah, when the yellow is so far into the jaws of the pocket as this one is at the top left, positional play is very, very difficult. This is going to need some shot to bring this white down, to get a position on one of these two yellows. Oh, this looks absolutely perfect. What a great attempt this is.
He's going to be a little frustrated because he did control that very, very nicely. As you say, it's very hard to control when your object ball is so far in the jaws, and he's done that very, very well. It's finished awkward.
Yes, he is a tad unlucky there, because that was an excellent positional shot. If this yellow is pretty much straight on, then he's definitely going for it into the top right as we're looking.
Brilliant, absolutely brilliant. Great shot from Craig Marsh, and that really should be a frame winner.
So, unusual errors from both players in this frame. It looks like it's going to be Craig who's going to get the frame on the board. frame that he really needed to win in these short races.
You've got to feel that Mark's going to think that is a chance gone, because once he makes the plant down the rail and they come out that nicely, great chance to go 2-0 up. 2-0 up with Craig making a couple of mistakes, and he's halfway to the finish line, and you could have, he's almost there with the way these matches are set up.
Absolutely, yeah. We can see Craig's results so far in the Premier League. It's been up and down, really. Hasn't really finished strong, started strong. He's sort of been fairly consistent throughout, really.
Yeah, just like Neil Rayburn and Simon Ward, he's got the two losses, but unlike Neil and Simon, he's got, for Craig's liking, quite a few too many draws in there, really. But he did enough to get into phase 2, but he probably needs to. He's under a bit more pressure than Simon and Neil, where he needs to step it up a little bit more in phase 2.
Absolutely, yes. If he wants to get into the top 4 for the semis and the final, then he needs to be winning as many matches as possible. I don't think draws are going to get him there. He needs W's.
I think that's a huge indication that on Mark Boyle's last shot, when he missed that pot to the corner, he got a big kick, because he, even after Craig's made the clearance and the frame is over, he has asked the referee to clean the white. So definitely letting us know what he thought about his last visit to the table.
Yeah, it didn't look like a kick to me. I think that's just one of the little player nuances. He just missed it.
Yeah, but whatever works. If you need to tell yourself that it was the table or the balls, not you, then then do it. Another good break from Mark though, and another good opportunity. Every ball's got a pocket. He just needs to map out a nice route. And, normally, say in this situation, the yellow on the rail is the hardest ball, and the key to that is getting on it. But with the yellow near the right centre pocket, as long as he gets fairly straight on that yellow, getting on the one on the rail shouldn't be a problem. And if he gets good on it, you would be shocked if he missed it. Well, I think he's played for it in the corner, but it's the same thing. You're not moving the white very far, so as long as you get good on the one on the rail, and he has, the finish should come quite naturally from here.
Yeah, that was a precise positional shot that Mark played there.
Yeah, would have preferred to be a slightly straighter on the yellow to the corner, so that he could just drop it in and not have to use the rail, but he's done that, and he's done that very well. And now that the one in the rail's gone in, it's all there for him.
Mark's going to be doing a little bit of travelling in these next couple of shots. Probably going to spin this round of a couple of cushions, and then he's probably going to spin this next one. Well, he could play it with a bit of left-hand side and just bring the white sort of straight up and down the line, or he could spin it round off a couple of cushions. Just depends what his preference is.
I think just coming down the centre of the table is the percentage shot, and I think he's going the other way.
I think he's spinning it round. No.
Oh, he's overhit this, is he?
He needs to slow down.
He has overhit
slow
it.
down. I think it's just okay. It's just okay. Another inch or so, and.
Well, we all saw what Mark Boyle did last week. I think this is a lot easier shot than the one he made last week, and it is no problem.
Frame.
So it is Mark Boyle that takes a 2-1 lead. And he's a 2-1 lead, and he's had 2 breaks and 2 breaking dishes, so he really does look quite on great form on his side of the table. We look at Mark Boyle's route to this stage. Again, another player with just the 2 losses, this time to Neil Rayburn and Simon Ward. Sorry, 3 losses. I didn't see the one to Jimmy at the bottom there. And probably, again, a few too many draws, so Mark Boyle really is under pressure to step up and get some points to give himself a chance to get into the finals night.
Yeah, pretty poor start really. In his first 6 matches, 3 draws and 1 win and 2 defeats, but managed to secure a spot in the second phase in the last couple of weeks with a couple of wins, but it was a close call for Mark. So again, you know, he really needs some more victories over these next couple of weeks to have a chance to get into that exclusive club of the top 4.
A disaster for Craig. Screws the white straight into the corner pocket, and he could find himself 3-1 down before he touches the table again. Every time you pop the white off the break, you'll always fear the worst. It's a slightly messy table. Mark's got a shot on a visit, so he has essentially has a free shot with his first shot here to develop the table as he sees fit, and then he can make his choice on colours. He'll be looking to do quite a bit of developing here. Yeah, looking to just open up those reds, so he's going to be slightly annoyed that one of the yellows has come across and half blocked off the red to the centre. It still goes, it's just a little bit more awkward where it is. And actually his first red is going to be tricky, so may decide to go a different way.
That, I think his first shot will be the red into the top centre. No, you can see the one over the bottom corner. Couldn't quite tell if you could see that one. Thought he may have taken the one into the centre to kiss into that red and yellow and develop those, but just wasn't quite the right handle, I don't think.
Yeah, he could still play that shot in 2 shots' time. Maybe not to cannon the red, but maybe just cannon the yellow, because I think the red goes to the right middle. So I don't think that's a huge issue. If it is, he's got the perfect angle to go into the red and yellow.
Yeah, when he develops the red and yellow, once he pops this one into the left centre, wants to make sure he just doesn't stick behind that yellow. Just wants to glance off it like that.
Oh, nearly a disaster. That white went probably a step too close to that centre pocket for Mark's liking, but he's okay. He gets to play the next shot. It's a tricky little pot.
Down the white ball. Makes the shot a bit harder. Didn't want to overplay it, just accepted the long red into the bottom left.
Yeah, he'll be thrilled.
Rather than trying to dig in deeper in the white and do something a bit more adventurous. Right into the heart of the pocket. Screws the white down to the bottom end of the table. So this black to guarantee himself a point in his first match.
And no mistake, so he does take that 3-1 lead. Very, very impressive stuff from Mark Boyle. 2 breaking dishes, one reverse dish. He really is looking very, very sharp and continuing the form he showed us at the weekend.
Absolutely, another class act of a player, Mark Boyle. As is Craig Marsh, 2017 world champion Craig Marsh. Had a bit of a quiet time since that great victory. But last month or so he's lifted 2 titles. So just showing that he's just about back to his best form.
Yeah, and there is his recent highlights. There's the final that we were talking about, beating Steve Thompson 8-5. That was only 2-3 days ago, and then beating his good friend Ben Davis 8-4 out in Morocco. But you can see there, since the World Championships, it was June, when was the World Championship? February 2017. He had to wait a year and a half or so for his next title, but didn't have to wait very long for the one after that. So definitely back into somewhere near his best form.
such a sweet cueist, Craig Marsh. Gets so much power, generates so much power with very little effort. That looks like a dry one.
Yeah, I don't know. Just didn't seem to get the same. Didn't really. I mean, it's not a bad break by any stretch. Just didn't seem to get quite the same reaction out of the white. Maybe not quite as much explosion from the pack. But still probably hit that well enough to deserve to make a ball. But that's just the way that the ball goes sometimes. You're absolutely flying 3-1 up. You think, give me a chance, I can wrap this match up, and all of a sudden it's your opponent with a great chance. And in a bizarre way, it's been all Mark Boyle in this match, and he could have played his last shot in it.
Absolutely, yeah, that's such is the nature of the game. He's 3-1 up, looking good, dominating the match, and he may have to just settle for a draw.
Craig's going to be slightly annoyed with that last shot. He didn't want to have this angle going away. He's on the yellow. He does go through the reds to the centre pocket, but the white's going the wrong way. He's going away from his work, and he would love to have just been able to drop this in, because I don't think this is a full pocket, so it's not one that you really want to be, hitting firm and spinning the white in and out of bulk. So probably a reroute for Craig.
He's on to change his patterns. Certainly didn't want to be taking that one next. He just said he wanted to be just dropping that one into the bottom middle as we're looking. And then it would have been pretty routine. However, he's got to manoeuvre this white ball.
See, the clock's just getting away from him there. Played that one with 4 seconds left on the clock. And I think that's the thing when you have to reevaluate and go a slightly different way about your finish. You don't have that much time to work out a whole new pattern. He'd already used his extension.
So this is all about weight of position. That looks pretty good. Wants it to slow down a bit. That looks good.
He's dead straight on it this time.
He'd like straight, then he can just run this white through. 8 inches. Oh, he had room to stun it in. Which makes me wonder why he didn't take it when he was on it originally, but job done, reverse dish. And he can break now and secure himself a point when it all looked lost 5 minutes ago.
Yeah, it really is amazing how quickly a match can turn around when you're playing such a short format. We were looking at Mark Boyle running away with this match, and all of a sudden it's without going down to the decider or the final frame.
Interestingly, the results there from Mark Boyle, his 3 losses, are all against players who are still in the Premier League, so he'll have to face those 3 again. Hopefully he can turn the results around in his favour.
Yeah, he definitely needs to turn at least a couple of those around to have a chance, because he's playing catch-up on the guys at the top. It's all about finishing in the top 4 positions. So we started with 10 players. After everyone played everyone, we lost 4. We're down to 6 now. We have everyone plays everyone again, and we lose 2 more for finals night. So it's not so important to finish 1 or 2. It's very important to finish top 4.
Time running.
Absolutely. So Marsh to break. Can he get one from the break? It's looking pretty dry at the moment.
Much better break from Craig. You saw the white come straight up and down the centre of the table, but I think you can tell by his reaction what he thinks of that break. Definitely hit that one well enough.
Nothing really threatened the pocket there. It was a good split, but just nothing went near any of the bags.
So what work does Mark Boyle have?
Extension
He
call.
has a choice of both colour sets.
And the same problem with each. He's got that little 3-ball cluster at the bottom.
You'd argue that the yellows are easier at the top of the table, but you'd argue that the cluster that was a problem, the red, yellow and the black, are easier to solve from the reds.
And for that reason, I think he's going to go reds. He can just develop this one that's on near the cushion, just bounce it out a few inches. And what he'll be looking to do is to leave himself an angle to disturb that cluster, but then also to make sure that he leaves himself a red afterwards. He doesn't want to leave that to the end. He wants to try and develop that cluster as soon as he can. Probably after this next shot.
It looks like he's got a good angle on the one to the bottom left to be able to get into that area. If he plays it from the bottom, the one going to the bottom left, he's just got to be careful not to overhit the shot, and he doesn't want that black to get in the way of the pocket. Should be guaranteed to be on the one to the centre pocket at the very least.
I think if he can just nudge onto the yellow.
Well, the longer you leave it, the more chance you have of it going wrong, but I quite like playing it from this red, although I think he's just slightly overhit that, because if he plays it from this red and sort of screws into the red, then you're knocking the red into open play, the black into open play, and you're guaranteed to be on the one in the middle. But I think he's just overhit the previous shot and caused himself to have to reroute.
Yeah, he certainly has. He's going to have to just run this white through, maybe a little touch of right hand side, just to leave the white at this bottom right hand corner of the table. And then he's going to have to trust to a little bit of luck as he puts the one into the. He's had to slow down.
Yeah, straight is no good, but that is okay. I think he's got just enough angle. And you can see there the way he was pointing his cue. He's looking at cannoning the black because he feels he's got more control on staying on the red into the centre pocket, rather than if he cannons into the red, he doesn't really know exactly where the red's going to go.
Half ball black. Yeah, just hit the black too full. No, he's only got a double.
That is no good. Just giving Craig Marsh a little bit of hope in this match. Yeah, it's a great shot.
Superb shot there from Mark Boyle. Superb shot. That was such a difficult shot.
Yeah, he's made that look so much easier than it actually was. And the control of the white's fantastic as well. Still a tricky little black.
Yeah, tricky black. But this for the win and 3 points. No mistake.
And it's there. Fantastic from Mark Boyle. He does take the match, does get the 3 points. Very, very valuable 3 points. And you can see there the match has really come down to the final dry break from Craig. He had a dry break and a foul from a break. You can see, Mark missed more balls in the match. Craig's only missed the one ball. Probably should have won one of the earlier frames, which he didn't. But he'll be disappointed with that. And that's the way it goes. So it is Mark Boyle that gets the 3 points and moves on. And we will have another match for you right after the break. Welcome back, everyone. We have just seen Mark Boyle from Scotland beat Craig Marsh to earn himself 3 valuable points to move himself up the Free Sports Premier League pool table. Next up for us, we have Neil Raybone versus Craig Marsh. Kev, do you think the fact that Craig's just been on the table and just suffered a loss will have any effect on the way he plays in this match?
I'm not sure it will. It may just have helped him get his arm going a little bit, but these players are experienced players, and the frames are coming through thick and fast. So, well, time will tell, I guess. But one thing's for certain, Craig, he needs to get something out of this match. If he loses another, I think the top 3 or 4 are going to start to get away from him a bit, and it may be too late to pull it back. So I think this is a must-win match for Craig Marsh.
Yeah, do you think so? You've got each player gets to play 5 matches. They play all the other opponents in this phase. But Craig plays 3 of his matches tonight. So if he has a bad night tonight, starting lower down the table, he really is under a lot of pressure.
Yeah, I think if he loses. If he only gets 1 point, if he loses 2 and maybe gets a draw, I think that'll be it for him. To be honest, I think if he's not getting the points, the other players are obviously, and I think there's just going to be too much of a gap.
First frame, Craig Marsh to break.
Yeah, big match for Craig Marsh.
Time running.
Neil's a little more comfortable, but it can soon change round. And maybe that I was going to say maybe that white just not going in the middle bag was just a little bit of luck that he needed, but he's gone dry on the break. So yeah, Craig Marsh certainly under a lot of pressure.
Yeah, it's another big break for him to come up dry. He's got every right to make a ball there. He's hit it very, very clean, and having had a couple of dry breaks or a dry break in an off break cost him in the last match. It's not the way he wants to start this match.
And we saw the form that Neil Raybone is in the first match against Simon Ward. High quality affair, and probably not the opponent that Craig Marsh wants to play at this moment in time.
Yeah, no, but you could say that, because we've got 6 of the best players in the world playing in this tournament, so it's you have to pick yourself up pretty quickly from defeats and go again.
Yeah, Neil's gone yellows. I thought Reds were marginal favourite, but he's going to try and develop that yellow. Misjudged it, and now he's in a little bit of trouble in this frame. I don't think he can pot it down the rail into, the top left as we're looking now on the overhead camera. Maybe he can. If he can, he'll just play position on it.
If he can, it's not the worst ball to get on the black with. It's an option. It does look quite tight.
The confidence that Neil's manoeuvring that white ball around there, and he's left an absolutely sweet angle to try and develop this yellow. I don't think it pots into this bottom left corner. Maybe if he was right behind it, a couple of inches away, sort of where the centre bag is, he could maybe knock it in with a little bit of swerve, but he just tried to move it and just misjudged that one. He was scared of the in-off there. He didn't want to hit the sort of top side of the red. He needed to hit the bottom side of it, or full in the face, and just put him off the shot a little bit.
And the longer he's missed it twice now, so it's going to just get harder and harder from here, and looks like he's just going to pull back with a safety shot. Well, he's developed the yellow. He's left Craig without an open pot on.
Yeah, it's not a bad shot, to be honest. Couldn't do much, but left Craig even less to go at.
Oh, Craig's going to be annoyed with that one. You can see the frustration he's showing. It's only the first frame in this match, and that's probably just a build-up of the previous match as well. It's not a terrible shot. You know, he's not in a world of problems off that shot, but he does leave Neil an opportunity if he wants to take it on.
Yeah, and with Craig showing, you know, a little bit of emotion there, it's going to give his opponent a lot more confidence as well. You know, knowing that his opponent's maybe just struggling a little bit, and you know, these top players, you know, if they spot a little bit of weakness, and you know, they're going to be all over it.
Neil's been he's been a touch unfortunate there, just to catch that black in such a way that he's not on this yellow to the centre pocket. It was a really good pot and probably deserved to be on this ball. But he's total snookered now, and even if he could just swerve around the black to pot the yellow, he can't take that option because he needs to get onto the other yellows. So probably look to play this one fairly dead weight. And that's well controlled.
Not too bad, he's still leaving Craig nothing to go at, which will just increase his frustration. One of the key factors why Craig won the world title was his levels of concentration and his his mental resolve, and you know, it was so impressive in 2017. You know, when he was under pressure, kept calm, and you know, eventually took the title.
Yeah,
and,
I actually asked him about that. I asked him about that this weekend. I asked him why. You know, because obviously, you know, he knows that sometimes he can run a little bit hot and he can lose his head, and definitely costs him matches. There's no doubt about that. And I said, you know, were you doing anything different when you won the World Championships? What a great effort from Neil. Were you doing anything different to win the World Championships? And he didn't. He said no, he wasn't working on anything in particular. It was just he just had some calm that week that he's never had since, and he doesn't really understand why. But he was that was no doubt for me the reason he won the World Championships was his mental approach to the game that week. Every mistake he made, every time his opponent got onto a run, he sat there calmly and showed absolutely zero emotion and just went about his business really, really calmly, and ended up with a trophy and was world champion.
Yeah, it's fully deserved. Fantastic performance. Everyone in front of him. You know, we can see how quickly things can turn around, and whilst he was showing some frustration earlier on in the frame, in 3 or 4 shots time he could be ahead in the match. So yeah, he's just got to try and stay in the moment and just try and keep it all together.
Yeah, it was a very, very clever safety shot that Craig played to give himself this opportunity. He looked to be in a bit of trouble. Even though Neil only had 2 balls on the table, he didn't have anything to go at, but came up with a very clever safety shot where he was able to keep Craig at distance and develop his balls at the same time and force Neil into go for something extravagant, which he wasn't able to make. Just throwing the white around the table. Probably didn't need to, but nicer to get to cue through a ball than it is just to have to be delicate on it. And no mistakes from Craig Marsh. He does take that 1-0 lead, and a bit of frustration for Neil because he knows he had a good chance in that frame. Just needed to develop that one bad ball and wasn't able to do it. And I think Kevin Barton is now going to get a few words with Mark Boyle.
Mark, you come into stage 2 of the Premier League with some great form, having won the Open event at the weekend, and you've kept that going against Craig in that last match.
Yeah, I knew I had to playing someone because Craig's been playing well as well. He won the professional event at the weekend, so I knew I was up against it. We're starting in 6, so I need to get wins instead of draws. So that last frame was massive for us to get the 3 points.
Yeah, the 3 points. Well, every point is vital at this stage. Have you sort of got an eye on what you need to do to get into that top 4?
Just keep winning, basically. Just draws are no good. because I'm starting at the bottom of the table now, so I need the 3 points. But I'll take a draw the next match. Just 4 points is a good target for tonight.
So do you come in with a different mindset because you are in 6th place and know that you've got some catching up to do? Are you going to be a bit more aggressive, or are you just going to keep playing your own game?
Yeah, you've got to be aggressive because you don't get much time to think about it. It's like a game of chess out there. There's no chance. You just got to go for it and hope to go in, basically.
And we thought the best of 8s were quick races. How did you find that best of 6?
Oh, even quicker. It felt like it was over in 2 minutes. You just don't get time to settle. 6 frames are gone in 5 minutes. That's what it feels like.
But and still enjoying the Premier League.
Oh, brilliant! Love it.
Okay, well played, Mark, and good luck later on.
Right, thank you. Thanks, Kev.
Great to see Mark in good spirits, and it really was a good performance. Played very well in beating Craig Marsh, and as he said there, he really does need to find a few wins to get himself up the table. And what a great start for him. Good. We'll go back to our match in progress, and it's a really good break from Neil, and very good first opening shot, and he's up and running now. And look at the table; it really is at his mercy. All things considered, this really should be 1-1 very quickly.
Yeah, interesting interview with Mark. I think as we see the next few nights develop in the Premier League, I think victories are going to be at an absolute premium. Every match is probably guaranteed to go 2-2, 3-2, and it'll be whether somebody gets over the line 4-2 or it's a draw. So I think those 3 points might actually be worth 5 points. Because it's going to if everybody else is drawing, the getting those victories is sort of even more exaggerated.
Yeah, it is strange how having the draw element makes such a big difference to the mentality of the match. When you start the match, you've got to win 4 out of 6 against one of the best players in the world to get the 3 points. That's tough.
Oh
my
no!
word.
One of the
dreaded bounce out. Look at this. That was right in the heart. That is so unfortunate. It's not even extreme pace either. It's so frustrating when you see things like that as a player. That's a frame just taken away from him for nothing, and maybe it creates a little bit of drama for us viewing, but it's just heartbreaking for the player. And it's exaggerated for every reason we've just been talking about. We're only playing a 6-frame format. It was all but certain. He was nailed on for 1-1. For 1-1, and now he's going to be 2-0 down through no fault of his own. Very frustrating.
Absolutely, and it gives. Whilst Craig will not have wanted to see that for his opponent, it has given him a little extra spring in his step, and he's charging around this table, finishing these reds off. He's not played the greatest of positional shot there, but he'll be looking to. There's a couple of ways he can play it. Can just stun it, be a bit more adventurous, bring the white maybe right back to where his hand is. Oh my goodness! What's happening in this frame?
Very bizarre. As you say, it wasn't the best of last positional shots. He could have got a lot closer behind that. He had enough angle to power the white across, so it will have been frustrating for him to have to be on such a tricky ball. At no point did I ever think he'd miss it. It was tricky. It wasn't one I thought he'd miss.
Yeah, it all stemmed from the shot before that he just left himself a little bit too straight on that. I couldn't even finish the sentence off with watching that black head towards that red. That could have gone horribly wrong for Neil, but anyway, it's what he deserves. A little bit of luck after that centre bag refused to take that straightforward pot.
Yeah, but he still needs to make a good one now. And a great pot from Neil. Yeah, I was watching that and drawing my breath, holding my breath, thinking, is he potted the black, or is he going to? Oh, what can happen? And it came out perfectly for him.
So just taking a few extra seconds to prepare himself for this black to level this match up, and just putting a little bit of side on the white ball there just to keep it away from that centre pocket.
Now, I always think that you shouldn't consider your luck until the end of the frame. In a very strange way, Neil is better off having had the bounce out. And what I mean by that is, had Neil just cleared up there, Craig doesn't think twice about that frame because it was a break and clear. It would have been a break and clear from Neil. Now Craig's had a great opportunity and he's missed a ball he would have expected to make, and he feels like he should be 2-0 up. Craig will be sat in his chair, more frustrated. So it's bizarre how the game pans out.
It is bizarre. It is bizarre. We can see the recent results from Neil Raybone, and was looking good at the weekend, and then ran into a red hot John McAllister in the quarters, and was pretty well dispatched 7-2. Did see some of his play. Did look impressive, but it can happen.
But he does have a title on his CV for the season, winning the English Open, beating Mark Boyle in the final, and an absolutely dramatic night, and went down to a deciding frame, and actually Mark had a black to beat him.
Absolutely, that was another classic IPA final, and look what Craig has done yet again. Almost an action replay of a previous break, sending the white ball straight into that corner bag. Didn't hit anything, just screwed it straight in.
Now Craig's one of the players that likes to, he plays the screw shot, so he's trying to break and get the white to come straight up and down the centre of the table, and when you see him hit it brilliantly and that white comes flying up and down and you feel like it's out of danger, it looks brilliant. But I always feel, and it's something I struggle with, that if I try that break, those corner pockets, I've only got to slightly miss-hit it and those corner pockets are in play. And I guess that's the big danger for the break that he goes for.
Yeah, it's a fine margin because the guys are absolutely throwing everything into it on the break. You know, they can just screw in back. Then they've got to be aware of the corner pockets, and if they don't hit it too flush that centre ball, then the centre pockets come into play as well. So it's critical that you hit them absolutely sweet as a nut, and ideally bring that white straight back, or even try and park the white in the centre of the table. Either way, you need to avoid the dreaded in-off.
Yeah, it's the same argument if you go for the one where you say you park the white in the centre of the table. If you do that, you bring the centre pockets into play more. You know, if you miss hit it, then the centre pockets seem to be a bit of a magnet. It's just whichever way you see it, but yeah, the problem is that if you don't hit it well. I really like Neil's first shot in this frame. Very, very clever, very, very delicate. Just had to move the ball a millimetre or two to open up both yellows and the black, and he did it very well. And now he's done that, this table, like the previous frame, looks like it's a wide open finish on yellows for him.
Yeah, again we're seeing how quickly these matches can turn around. It was looking like 2-0 to Marsh, and in the next probably 45 seconds it could be 2-1 to Raybone. So it's fast and furious, that's for certain.
When we move to the 30-second shot clock, I think it's fair to say that most of these players, it definitely, listening to them and speaking to them, it felt very quick and a bit alien, and probably a little bit too quick for them. Do you think that the more we play, the more we're now on, what are we on now, week 13, 12 or 13? Do you think they're getting more used to it? Do you think they're, realising that when they hear those beeps for the final 10 seconds, that they get more of a rhythm of how long they've actually got?
Well, it's probably a good question to ask one of the players when we next interview them. I guess they will get more used to it the more times that they play it, and we'll get into. I think it can, it can help get them into a rhythm quicker. It depends. Again, it depends on the frames, and if they're getting the table time and they're getting their arms going, and they can not worry about the clock. They can just play. Like that clearance from Neil there. There's nothing to think about, so the clock doesn't really come into play. But if it gets a little bit tricky, if you're at difficult situations, then the clock does start to come into play.
Okay, that's interesting. Be interesting to get some thoughts from the players on that one. And it is Neil moves himself 2-1 ahead, and he is 2 frames away from victory. And we will see if he can do that after the break. Welcome back to the Free Sports Premier League of Pool. We join Neil Raybone and Craig Marsh mid-match, currently 2-1 to Neil after that foul break from Craig Marsh and a reverse finish from Neil to put himself 2-1 ahead. And as you say, it's amazing how quickly a match can turn around. It looked almost certain to be going 2-0 to Craig Marsh, and very quickly 2-1 to Neil Raybone.
Absolutely, and not a right lot in the stats. Obviously, Neil's 2-1 up, so he's potted more balls, but a dry break and a reverse dish, probably the difference between the two at the moment. But big break from Neil coming up. If he can win this, he'll secure a point. Where's that white going? That's why the game's so crazy sometimes. The last frame, Craig was he did exactly the same break. The whites went straight in off, and it was heading the same way for Neil, and he just got a nice little friendly nudge from that yellow.
It's incredible, isn't it? That was centre pocket. That was absolutely flying in, and it's amazing that we were thinking, how unlucky was Neil to have that bounce out, and he's had two really nice bits of fortune since then.
I'm sure Craig appreciated it as well. Not. Just another bit of frustration he's got to try and overcome.
Yeah, and it wasn't just that. He made 4 balls and has a nice table to go at. I think he'd love to be able to play. Oh, that's a surprising miss. I was just about to say I think he'd love to be able to see the three ball plant, excuse me, to the top left, bred onto yellow and then yellow to go yellows. But I don't think that he could see it. I think the black was blocking that shot, almost forced into taking that awkward shot into the middle pocket. And they look a lot easier on screen than they actually are.
Yes, that's it was a very tricky opener, and like you say, ideally would have liked to have played the plant. Craig's going to take the yellows now, take the opportunity with the yellows, put this, flicked it in with lots of right hand side.
Do you think he was trying to develop the yellow on the side of the table, or just?
Well, no, because he would have dug deeper into the white ball if he was going to play that shot. He's still got a fair bit of work to do here. I think he can run this through with lots of left-hand side. He's played that well.
Yeah, that looks almost perfect. It's a great shot from Craig. It's looks such a simple pot, and when you look at you think, oh well, that was fairly simple. But he's played that with an awful lot of running side to create the angle to get onto the next ball. And that's one of the things that you can miss when you watch great pool players play. It's the subtleties of some of the shots they play. You know, just flicking it in with a tracer side to get perfect rather than on their next ball, and they just make the game look a lot easier. And it really is.
Yeah, it's probably rarer that the player shot with plain ball. You know, there's generally got something on the white ball just to create small little angles here and there.
Yeah, you saw Craig just stopped in his tracks there. He knew the minute he hit that he'd overhit it. Playing on the yellow to the top left, anywhere near straight on it, and it would have been absolutely fine. He's overrun it to the point where he's now hampered. He's going to have to drop this in, and he's going to, even if he makes it, he's going to have an awkward last ball.
Missed that. It's just he's not really settled at all tonight yet, Craig. He's carrying the weight of the world on his shoulders at the moment. Maybe it could be fatigue from the weekend. You never know. You know, winning an event at one of the IPA Tours events, it is mentally draining. They are hard work.
I'll have to take your word for it. I wouldn't know, but yeah, I'm sure it is. You know, you're on the table. You know, there's a lot. You know, it's a long day if you want to win an IPA event. So yeah, there is something in that. And
I think he's tried to pull out a big Craig Marsh special there. He's absolutely launched everything into that shot. Completely lost the cue ball and disappears in the middle bag. He's completely thrown himself at this one. Look, you can right off the shot, you can see his movement there. And that is just pure frustration.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that. Do you think that's just completely wild because he's really angry? Is it the frustration, or do you think even in a calm mind he would have looked to play a shot like that?
I'm not sure that. And Neil's just. He's playing a little defensive. You can understand it. He knows he's got Craig exactly where he wants him, so he's just going to develop that red, and just keep things ultra tight. Maybe even look in his next shot to develop the red on the right cushion, but Craig's going to push the boat out again. He's going to try and clip this yellow into the bottom right corner and play a skill shot.
Interesting choice from Neil. I'd want to see that one again to see what sort of advantage he gained from what he actually did. Certainly want to, trying to understand what these great players do to try and make the game easier for themselves. I'm not 100% certain why he went the way he went.
I just don't think he was ready to go for the finish. He didn't need to push the boat out. He had that one on the rail, and he would have had to play on that and pot it, and he obviously thought that the risk wasn't worth it. Well, this looks a great shot if he's got the legs. It's a little bit short. So now we'll see Neil go for the finish.
Time out.
But yeah, I think Neil was just biding his time. Knew he didn't have to do anything too strenuous. He could just play a few more developing shots and create a better chance, which is done now.
Yeah, well, that seems fair enough. Now Neil really wanted to pop both reds in that first shot. Would have been better for him because he's perfect on his next ball down to the bottom right. Now he needs to pop this red over the pocket and get back to where he is now.
Is that to slow down? Yeah, I think he's okay there. Can just drop this in. Red into the left corner after this one, into the bottom right corner. There it goes in the same bag as well. There are plenty of options there, and this should be pretty routine. And Neil Raybone will guarantee himself his second point minimum of the night. He'll be looking to win one of the next two frames. There it goes, 3-1 to Neil Raybone.
Yeah, 3-1 to Neil, and some frustration for Craig. He finds himself 3-1 down for the second time tonight. Be interesting to see how he approaches the next frame. See if any of that frustration is still there, or whether he can approach it with a clear head. We'll look at some of Neil's recent highlights. There's that English Open victory over Mark Boyle back in May. Semi-finals at the World Championships, losing out to Simon Ward in a deciding set. Definitely looked dangerous as a player throughout the tournament. I thought this could be Neil's year. Wasn't to be, but he'll be back. And of course he was the Morocco World Series champion back in April 2017. Also the Netherlands World Series champion. And he'll be back to defend his trophy, having qualified at the weekend.
Yeah, over the last, Neil has been a very, very good player for many years, but I think over the last 3 years, I guess, he has been a frequent winner on the IPA circuit, and he's gone from being a very good player to a great player, I think, in that period of time. And
with the World Series coming up, he has every chance to be season-ending number one. It's very, very tight for the number one ranking between Mark Farnsworth, our current number one, Neil Raybone, Ben Davies, our world champion, and Craig Marsh. But Neil has the power to add because of the World Series, so as does Mark Farnsworth himself. So it'll be very interesting to see if he can do that.
Yeah, Neil's and Craig is really pushing the boat out now. If Neil's in the semi-finals, they'll play in the Netherlands in January, and if he wins that, he will end the season as the world professional number one, which will be a tremendous achievement. He's got too much side on that. Craig is just really not there tonight. It's just not happening for him.
Yeah, it's been a tricky finish that he's tried to chase the whole way through. He's had a couple of goes at trying to get into this cluster and hasn't managed to do it. And it's just a containing safety shot. Not a lot else he could do in that situation.
I'm not sure that's going to be good enough. Because I think Neil's got an opportunity to pot this one in the middle, and then pot the one in the right corner, develop this red that's on the right cushion near the yellow. And he's got a red at the top left-hand corner of the table, but he's got so much room to get behind that, into the corner, into the centre.
Yeah, Neil just using his extension. You see this quite a lot with players, that they get their extension and they'll use it at the beginning of a visit, just to try and map out, especially when they've got a couple of tricky balls, just to map out how they want to try and develop those tricky balls. And then from there, they'll just run through the frame.
I mean, he may well not try and move this one that's near the yellow. He may just leave it for a double. These guys are, these top players are just not phased by doubles at all. And yeah, he used the opportunity to get good position on that semi-difficult red.
I think that's a great point. I think a lot of players, probably myself included, would have gone, oh, that ball was perfect to get the other ball out. I'll take that opportunity, and not considered the ball that Neil's potting into the centre now was a bad ball. Neil's seen it differently. He's gone straight after that one, knowing that red doubles so comfortably for him.
Yeah, I think he's going to have to just hit this one with a little bit extra pace, just to straighten the red ball up once it hits that cushion. Doesn't look... Yeah, he's just checking the angle. I think this is all about the pace, this double. Oh my goodness me, what is going on?
That's incredible. As you said, he played it with more pace. He played it with screw to straighten up the angle. And for the second time tonight, he's had a horrible bounce out. Oh, that is absolutely horrible. Oh, it's disgusting, really. And a great shot from Craig. Craig wasn't able to punish him the first time. He needs to this time. And he will this time.
Well, we'll certainly be getting Neil's thoughts on that at some point tonight. That was, well, it's just, how do you explain it?
Frame.
Craig won't be happy with that at all. You know, I know he's won the frame, but he knows that Neil's been very, very unfortunate, and you know, he's only won that frame because of some strange, bizarre act of God, rather than his great play. So he won't take any consolation in that.
No, he still looks frustrated and annoyed, doesn't he? And Neil, although he's got every right to be annoyed, he's just trying to laugh it off, and he gets to break in the next frame and still hopefully will give himself another opportunity to win this match. But if this double drop goes in like it should, it's match over. And we can feel very, very hard done by.
Only consolation for Neil is that it's his break.
Final frame, Neil Raybone to break.
You know, he'll probably put that to the back of his mind. With Neil, he's pretty pragmatic. He knows these things happen. He's been a bit unfortunate it's happened to him twice in a couple of frames, but you know.
I guess it's one of those things you're only really going to let annoy you, or potentially let annoy you, if this frame goes badly. No point worrying about it yet.
No, he's had a great break there. And he's got another opportunity to wrap this match up, and I think he's going to be eyeing up these reds. See how he brings the white straight back.
Yeah, it's exactly what Craig's been trying to do, but just not quite catching it clean enough, and potted the white a couple of times.
I think he's just going to pot this red into the bottom right corner, develop the red that's nearest the yellow, and then he should be in good shape to take the frame.
It's slightly awkward for him. I'm not sure this red goes into the left centre or whether he needs to play the plant. If it does go, he'll probably play it, but if the plant's, it's just tricky enough to be missable. He doesn't have any other open pots on.
Yeah, he's definitely going for the plant here, and this is all about the pace on the plant, because he doesn't want the red that he's going to hit to get stuck in front of that yellow. So he's played that well, just moves the red away from the yellow, and now the frame is at his mercy in the match.
Yeah, he made that plant look a lot easier than it was. He made it look simple, and the pace he played it at was very, very good. And he is really, effectively, this is all but match ball here.
Never left the cushion, that one. Played that really well. And if that red passes that yellow into the top left-hand corner, once he's potted the one into the right centre, then that should be 3 points in the bag. He's probably not got a full bag for this red. He's probably just got 2/3 maybe of the bag, so he just needs to be precise with the pot.
You must have enough of it to not be concerned by it, because he had options to play this other ways. He could have played for the red in the centre first and then the red in the corner to the other corner or the other centre. So there must be enough where he's comfortable. And he's played that very, very well, and there'll be no mistakes from here.
So they're going to the right hand section of the bag. And I think this is going to be a real hammer blow for Craig Marsh in his quest to get to the final stages of the Premier League.
That's very, very impressive from Neil Raybone. He manages to win the match 4-2 with a break and dish after a bounce out that cost him in the previous frame. So fantastic to see him hold his nerve, and he moves on, and he's puts him to the top of the table. And Craig Marsh, as you say, is now under a lot of pressure. He's got 3 frames left in the second phase, and he probably needs to win minimum 2, if not 3, to qualify. So all the pressure is on Craig. Next up for us, we've got Mark Boyle versus Simon Ward, and we'll get that match underway after the break. And welcome back to the Free Sports Premier League of Pool. Neil Raybone sits at the top of the table after a fantastic 4-1 victory over Craig Marsh. And Craig Marsh remains on 13 points and in a little bit of danger, only without a point tonight after his 2 matches. He's in danger of not making a top 4 finish. Next up for us, it's Mark Boyle from Scotland versus Simon Ward from Wales.
Another cracking match ahead of us, and again too close to call. But just thinking about Craig Marsh, he's got one more match tonight against Simon Ward. If he doesn't get a victory in that match, it's looking pretty grim for him to make the final 4.
Yeah, he's going to start getting into the realms of really needing a lot of help. He's still only 2 points adrift of a top 4 finish, but more importantly, he's had 2 of his matches in this phase where other players haven't. Gareth Hibbert hasn't played a match yet. Mark Boyle's only played 1. So the danger is going to really start to build. There's a lot of pressure on that last match for him.
Yeah, and so both these guys know that victory will put them one step closer to finals night. And Mark already with 3 points in the bag from a match earlier, and Simon, who sits at the top of the Premier League, or sits second in the Premier League now behind Neil.
Yeah, he'll be desperate to get that top spot back, won't he? He needs to get a win to go back to the top, leapfrog Neil.
Yeah, he won't want to. He won't want to slip down and get into the bun fight for those. Third and fourth places. He wants to finish top of the tree and make no mistakes.
Yeah, so Neil and Mark both played twice tonight, whereas Simon and Craig played 3 times. So for Simon, he's got a point in his first match. And yes, he was top of the table before we started tonight. But if he loses this match, he's in danger of having a bad night, and he needs to. There'll be some pressure on him on that last match. Whereas if he gets a win here, 4 points from 2 matches, he can really relax in that last match of the night.
I don't think he'll be relaxing after seeing that break. Go straight into the centre. Very Simon Ward-like. And those reds are just asking to be put down into those pockets.
Yeah,
hopefully without any bouncing outs.
Without a bounce out, absolutely. No, those reds are so well split that even though Mark gets a free shot from that foul to develop balls as he needed to, he has just walked to the table and he's going to pot reds. That red almost bounced out. We saw a little return. And that's how wide open this table is for him. It's nothing to really think about or overanalyse. They're all there for him. Just has to work his way through them.
For a player of Mark's calibre, this is pretty routine. Nothing really to think about. He just needs to make sure he puts some chalk on his cue, and this frame's done and dusted. And it immediately throws the pressure back onto Simon. And he'll be conscious that if he doesn't at least get a point out of this.
I'm not entirely sure what's happened out in the arena there. I think Mark's called for his extension and gone to settle himself down. I'm not entirely sure what happened, but he seems happy enough now. This table was laid out almost like a training pattern, just drop-ins and stun shots. Just had to pop the balls really. Just wanted to get your Q arm going, and to be honest, it's exactly what you want at the start of a match. Very nice, easy settler to get yourself going. So he completes the reverse dish to go 1-0 up off Simon's fouled break. think we're going to try and get a few words with Neil Rayburn after his night's work. Got to in now.
Neil, welcome to the interview area. Early days in stage 2, but happy to be top.
Yeah, happy with 4 points tonight, and keeping in contention for the top 4. But still work to do, I think.
So at the moment tonight, it's nip and tuck between you and Simon. He's got a couple of games left. You've got a close eye on those.
Yeah, I'm obviously keeping my eye on the table, but I'm happy with tonight's work. Yeah.
So a good win against Craig. I mean, wins are going to be at a premium at this level. Best of 6. A win is going to feel like it's worth 5 points.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I knew I was in for a tough match against Craig. Obviously, former world champion, won the pro event the weekend. When I obviously had those couple of bounce outs, I think the game's going to punish me and I'm going to lose the match or draw. But happy to get over the line in the end.
Yeah, and talking of the bounce outs, I don't know what to say about them, but they obviously didn't disturb your concentration too much.
No, I mean, I was a bit speechless, to be honest. But it's just one of those things. Obviously, you can't really say they're going to happen, and I just tried to stay in the moment, and obviously managed to break and clear last frame, so happy really.
And you obviously got on top of Craig in that match. He was a little bit frustrated despite having a couple of chances that he couldn't quite take.
Yeah, I think he was frustrated, but with Craig still in it, he's got another match tonight. Obviously he's going to probably need to win that match, but everyone can beat everyone in this short format, so you just got to keep trying really.
And enjoying the Premier League?
Yeah, it's brilliant. So obviously it's great to play live on TV, and obviously the best players that the IPA got to offer, so yeah, it's brilliant.
Okay, Neil, good luck for the rest of the tournament.
Yeah, thanks Kev.
Fantastic to hear Neil's thoughts. Really is a cracking night's work. He started tonight third in the table, moved himself up to top of the table as it currently stands, with 4 points from his 2 matches, and that's where he really needs to be. He's got 3 matches left in this phase and looks very secure for a top 4 finish at the moment. And back to the match we have in progress. After a reverse dish in the first frame from Mark, he's made a ball in the second frame, and he's given himself another brilliant opportunity for a break dish and moved himself 2-0 ahead, with Simon only having played 1 shot.
Great chance for Mark Boyle now to take a 2-0 lead, which could be commanding in a race to 4, best of 6 scenario. Doesn't want to be straight.
It's very similar to the first frame, though. It's a finish that you'd be shocked if Mark doesn't finish. Possibly a fraction more work than the first frame, but not much, and possibly the worst angle he could have left himself, but he should still be okay.
Yeah, that red must just sneak past the other red, and he's in the perfect position to do it. You can see there there's just enough room for it to go, and in about 15 seconds time this will be 2-0 to Mark Boyle. Keeps up his impressive form that he's having at the moment. There goes 2-0.
Yeah, he's 2-0 ahead, and Simon's had 1 shot. A foul from the break. It's a tough school out there.
Yeah, that's the level that these players are at. One mistake can not only cost you 1 frame, it can cost you 2, 3, 4 frames.
Well, we've talked about it a couple of times tonight. There is Mark Boyle's tournament victory at the weekend, beating Gareth Hibbert 7-5 in the final. That was his 2nd trophy of the season, having won the Scottish professional event earlier in the year, just slightly before that list. But you can see semi-finals, quarter-finals, he really is in fine form. And a few people have said to me this year, Mark Boyle's probably not quite in the form he was in last year. I think he still won 2 events, made a final of another. Here he is doing well in the Premier League. It's still a very, very good season for Mark Boyle.
Yeah, it's an excellent season. And just look at the standard of play that it's taken to beat him. You know, it's like the who's who gallery there on the list of names. So you need to be on top of your game to beat Mark Boyle. Better break from Simon. He's got a red. So he needs to start to make it count now. Certainly doesn't want to be 3-0 down with 3 to play. With Boyle, who would have 2 breaks. So he's got to somehow conjure up a finish here. Nothing easy. But he's looking at reds.
Yeah, see him take his extension there. Just as you say, there's nothing easy here. So extension, give himself a little bit more time to work out what he wants to do.
The red that's nearest the yellow, that's nearest the black, that is his problem ball. If he can screw back into it from this pot into the top left corner. Not sure if he's got the right angle. I think he can. I think he screwed that back. The white's heading somewhere near the black. So is he taking it into the bottom right corner? He is.
What a great shot from Simon Ward. That really is phenomenal.
And he's got an absolutely dream angle there that he can put this one into the left corner and try and bounce the white off the cushion. And he'll be using that yellow, I think, that's to the right of the red as a guide. I'm assuming that the red goes in the left centre, but maybe it doesn't. Not sure what bag he's got lined up for it.
Well, we're going to find out in a minute.
What pocket does that red go into?
Well, it definitely doesn't go in the centre pocket. Can he sneak it in off the near jaw? That looks incredibly tight. He hasn't. I don't know if he's got the angle to be able to get into that area either. Looks like he's just avoiding it.
Well, he's got to conjure up something here. Surely it can't. Is he playing it off the yellow into the centre bag? Does it clip? But if he's going for that straight into the middle bag, there's only half a bag there at most. Is he playing it off the yellow? Oh my goodness, what a shot!
Wow.
So close.
That's an incredible effort from Simon Ward. That really is.
We've said many a time, he's one of the greatest shot makers in the game, and he almost pulled off a miraculous shot there.
You have the feeling there that he had that shot in mind a little while ago, to play it off the yellow. Knew the black was making it a reasonably big bag. The only problem with the shot, he overhit the previous positional shot and wasn't able to. If he was straighter on that, you'd almost fancy him to make it, but from where he was, it was very tough. It was very tough anyway, but made it even harder.
Nicely played.
Now, I asked you this question in the first match of the night, Kevin. You're the IPA chairman, so you're the authority on some things, and I'm going to ask you: does that go down as a missed pot on the stats? Because that would be harsh.
Yes, I think it is, because he did go for the shot.
Well,
he
really
went for the pot, and he didn't get it.
Well, that really is a tough score.
Not sure what else I can say on that one.
Okay.
But like you say, he knew what he was playing. He was playing the shot. And so close, just maybe a centimetre away from making the shot.
Right, for Mark here, it's a tricky finish. He's got 2 balls on the top rail, which he needs. When he gets good position on one of them, the other one becomes less of a problem. But then the black on the side red as well, so it's not guaranteed finish here by any stretch.
Easy cue power there from Mark Boyle. Just stroke that in, and look at the reaction he got from the white ball there.
It's quite clever to leave, and sometimes you think, I'm going to clear the bottom end of the table, then I'm going to go to the top end of the table, all my work's up there. But very purposefully leaving the yellow at the bottom end of the table. He knows if he finishes, you want to be, 3/4 ball on that, half ball maybe, put it into the corner and let the white drift round for the black. So it's quite clever to leave it that way.
It's almost been a strange clearance, to be honest. He's had the white up and down the table a few times. So yeah, he's obviously got in mind what his last ball is and how he's going to get to the black, and he's sticking to that plan, even if it means the white doing a little bit more mileage than normal.
Yeah, possibly one of the worst angles he could have left himself on this yellow. He probably, maybe not too bad. He can just top on and off the top cushion, maybe a trace of side. I think he would have definitely liked a little bit more angle in it, but he's okay. He's played that very, very well.
Precision positional shot there. That's a player in full confidence who knows exactly where the white ball's going, and that was a clear example of it there. That was a great shot. Looked easy, but it was a superb shot. And that's 3-0 to Mark Boyle.
Yeah, that was the first frame that Simon Ward's actually managed to get his hand on the table, but it was always going to be a tricky finish. He had one ball that he just could not work out. Nearly came up with a miraculous shot, but it's Simon Ward that it's Mark Boyle that counter clears and takes a 3-0 lead. Guaranteed a point, but definitely got his sights set on something a little bit more.
Yeah, and if Boyle does go on to win this match, how important is the last match of the night between Craig Marsh and Simon Ward? For different reasons, but they both need to get something from the night.
Yeah, no, absolutely. There's still work to be done for Mark in this match, though, and we've seen, Simon's only got to win 3 frames on the trot. We've seen that plenty of times, but he is probably going to need some help from Mark. Mark's break looks very, very good tonight, and you'll be surprised if he doesn't give himself at least one opportunity on his side.
4th frame, Mark Ball to break lead in 3 frames to 0.
And it wouldn't be a surprise if he didn't. Such is the nature. But, I think Boyle will be looking to finish the match off in this frame. He doesn't want it to start getting 3-1, 3-2 and start getting a little bit edgy and nervy.
Well, there's the first dry break that Simon needs if he's to get back in this match. Obviously goes without saying, this is an absolute must for him to find a finish here. It's a pretty decent split for him.
Yeah, I think he'll be looking at reds. Tricky first pot, but
yeah, he's got one more tricky one on the rail and on the right hand side there on the cushion. I always think with those shots that if you get on them well, you're not going to miss them. So I look at what ball can he get on them with, and he does have a red just above the right centre pocket, which is it all but guarantees him getting perfect on that red down the rail. Suspect he'll leave those for his last 2 balls.
Yeah, I would have tended to agree with you, but I think he may take them a little sooner. He may take the easy one over the top left corner, and then the one right middle, the one down the rail, and then just leave the white so that he can put the one into the left centre. But yeah, I was with you earlier. If he'd have had a different position on the one into the centre earlier, then yeah, I think they would have been his last 2. But he's just going to take them now. Shouldn't. It's all about this shot, really. Just drop it in, run the white through, an inch, 2 inch, just so that he can get the white through the gap between those two yellows. Make sure these ones down the rail, they've still got to be cued.
Yeah, he's played that very nicely. He's found the gap, and from here, there'll be no mistakes.
Maybe just dropping this in the middle, he's going to stun it back. He's seen those bounce outs from earlier. He'll certainly be playing on the players' minds a little bit.
It's one of those things that we've seen fairly consistently through the season, through the last few seasons, is those bounce outs. I wouldn't say it's always in the back of your mind. You never really want to be playing too powerful a shot, especially into the centre pockets, but it tends to be more those medium pace shots that the ball jumps out, just for no reason whatsoever. It's very, very frustrating. Got a great visit from Simon Ward. He reduces his arrears to 3-1. That was from a dry break from Mark, so now he needs to do it on his side of the table. He needs to create an opportunity with his break, and that would really turn the pressure around, actually, if he manages to do that.
Yeah, he's just got to focus on a good break, making sure he doesn't do what he did at the beginning of the match and screw the white straight into the centre pocket. Just try and somehow win the frame, be it a break and dish, be it scrappy. Somehow just get the frame on the board, and then who knows what can happen in the last frame.
Well, if he does manage to do that, you definitely feel like there'll be, even though Mark's the one guaranteed a point, feel like there'd be a bit more pressure on Mark, because at 3-0 you're kind of thinking, I'm good here.
Winds it up.
Well, he's made a ball. It probably wasn't his cleanest ever break, but he's made a ball and he's been presented with a phenomenal opportunity.
He's going to love that. Boyle's just going to probably just mentally prepare himself for his break, because he thinks that's what his next shot is going to be. Just going to pop this in, maybe just a trace of right hand side, just to bring the white up past the left hand side of this red. He's got options here. He could take it now, he could leave it till his last ball. He really is you see he's probably going to leave it to his last ball now.
Yeah,
It's just slightly the wrong angle.
possibly wasn't his original choice, but he wants to get back to where he is now. If he took the one at the bottom of the table, he'd want to get back to where he is now, so he's perfect for these ones at the top from here.
Yeah, I think he's just going to stun this down towards the right centre, just bounce it off the cushion, and then dispatch this last red into the bottom left hand corner. I'd like to touch more angle, but I think he's okay. Just fizz that white with some right hand side.
Yeah, he would have loved an extra 2 foot on that shot, mind. He's he's just made it more awkward than it needed to be. Even if he gets an extra 6 to 12 inches bounce off the cushion, it's almost unmissable.
So he can play this two ways. He can just play it plain ball, or he can just screw it in. I think he's played it well. Played with great control and accuracy. And in the blink of an eye, he's gone from 3-0 down to 3-2.
Yeah, reverse dish followed by a break dish, and he does cut the gap to 3-2. And I touched on it at the beginning of that frame. In a strange way, you feel like it's Mark that's got something to lose. Simon's only got something to gain.
Yeah, the pressure's going to be on Mark now to make a good break.
But once again, the standard is fantastic. We've had, what have we had here, 5 frames, and there's been 4 finishes from the break. It really is fantastic.
If Boyle can win this, he will go 3rd in the table. Ward will still be 2nd, but it would have been a great night's work for Mark Boyle.
Yeah, it really does show what 2 wins can do for you in the Premier League, because top of the beginning of the night, Simon Ward was top of the table and looking very good. Mark Boyle was bottom of the table and looking, slightly, struggling. 2 wins and he goes level on points.
Time running.
I think Jimmy Carney will be pleased how the results have gone tonight. We'll see him tomorrow night. Where's that white going? He's got a ball, he's got a red. And he's at the table. So,
and just as it always is in a deciding frame, which essentially is what this is, even though it's a draw or a win, it's a tight one, isn't it? Look at the split. It isn't wide open like the previous 2 finishes that Simon's had to go at, or a couple of the ones that Mark's had to go at previously in the match. It's a messy little congested area of the table where pinpoint control is required.
So I'm not sure he's got a yellow as an option. Potentially the 2 yellows he could make a plant, but it's reds. So the obvious problem area is that red nearest the black.
I just wonder whether that red, it always looks so deceptive from this camera angle. Does that sneak into the right centre or the left corner? I don't think it does, but it's going to be tight. If he doesn't have to move it, he won't. He would rather not, but I think he probably does need to play a cannon at some stage. And of course, if he does need to play a cannon, then the problem he's got is he's got enough reds near it that he can get into that area, but there's every chance that you could knock that red into another safe position because there's so many yellows around.
If anything, it might go in that right centre.
Well, he's just been round to have a good look at both the corner and the centre, so it must be tight.
Tried to move it.
It's a bit awkward because he's... Oh, see, it is tight for the centre pocket. And I think he was playing to move the red rather than the black, but he's moved the black into a more awkward position as well, so this finish has just got a whole lot harder after that shot, giving Simon Ward some hope.
This is getting trickier and trickier by the shot.
The way he played that shot to me would suggest this red does go into the centre pocket, but it's far from a full pocket. He was thinking about the black there, just didn't quite cannon the black with enough pace.
What's going through Simon Ward's mind now? Well, he's got a chance to steal a point in this match that 5 minutes ago he didn't look like doing. What a turnaround this would be.
Yeah, Mark was really odds against that. I think that was far from a full pocket. Missed it on the side that was furthest away from hitting the ball that was being blocking it, and that was the problem. And even if he had made it, he still had an awkward red, and the black didn't go anywhere. So that was really chasing a finish that was just going to get harder and harder, and giving Simon a chance to tie the match up.
Yeah, I think he'll just put a little safety shot in here. No need to do anything too extravagant. What a turnaround in this match, and you called it 3-0. It doesn't take much for things to turn around.
It's a pretty good shot from Mark. He's blocked off a lot of Simon's potential safety opportunities. He does have a pot to the centre pocket.
I think Simon's going to be going for the finish now and try and drop this in. He's going to pop this one over the left corner and just try and develop the black and yellow. And then the frame is at his mercy. Just needs a little bit of fortune where they come out.
And that is not it. Hope for Mark Boyle in this frame yet.
I think that white goes past the yellow.
Do you?
I
If
think
it does,
he
he's
can put
okay.
I think he can put the one over the right corner.
Although, wait, oh no, he needs to bend it.
Is it going to drop?
Oh, what a shot.
Fearless pull from Simon Ward.
I thought that was going to stay up for a second, and then it falls in and he's okay.
Extension called.
Oh, he needs that white to...
I think he's okay. I think he can pop the one into the centre pocket and stun down for the other yellow into the centre pocket. So he's... I don't know if this was his original plan, but he's okay.
Two shots away from securing an unlikely point. We have to screw this back. I can run it through.
Made that look easier than it was. So easy just to catch that, not quite so clean, and end up with a horrible little black.
Oh, incredible match, great match, and almost deja vu for Simon Wardy, but he made it a little bit harder this time than his first match, and secures a point there that he never looked like getting.
No, incredible. It just shows how good his temperament is. Waited, didn't get a go in the first two frames. Made a slight mistake in frame 3, but found himself 3-0 behind. But a break dish, a reverse dish, and a very well played frame 6 earns himself the draw. And that's 2 draws for Simon tonight. And as he started the table, top of the table, probably be relatively happy with that. But for Mark, that's his final match of the night, and a win and a draw. It'd have taken that before the night, but at 3-0 up, he would have rather get 2 wins. And we have one more match tonight, and it is Simon Ward versus Craig Marsh even. It's been a long night, and that will be after the break. Welcome back to the Free Sports Premier League of Pool. We've just seen a fantastic match between Mark Boyle and Simon Ward. Mark Boyle won the first 3 frames, Simon Ward the last 3 frames, and it ends in a draw. Moves Simon Ward back to tied at the top with Neil Raybone behind on frame difference. For Mark Boyle, it's a pretty decent night's work. A win and a draw moves him up into the top 4, the all-important top 4. But he's going to have more work to do tomorrow night. So we are just about ready for our last match of the night, and it is an all-Welsh battle between Simon Ward and Craig Marsh. And goes without saying, really, when you look at the league table, this is a very, very important match for Craig. You've got 5 matches in Phase 2, and he really needs, after having 2 losses to start, he really needs to get something out of this match to give himself a chance in his next 2 matches. So it's Craig that wins the lag. He will get first break. Simon Moore looking very relaxed. He's had 2 matches tonight as well and 2 draws, which wasn't what he was looking for, I'm sure. But when you start top of the table, 2 draws won't do too much harm. I know he needs a win or 2 yet to get into the top 4, but he's still got 3 matches left. You can't help but feel that it's Craig Marsh that's under a lot more pressure in this match.
First frame, Craig Marsh to break. Time running.
So here we go. It's important for Craig to keep the white on the table, something he's struggled with tonight so far. Well, there's a much better break in terms of keeping the white in the centre of the table, and perhaps because of that, he compromised a bit on the power. Didn't really catch that anywhere near as clean as and as powerfully as we know that Craig Marsh can. And maybe that is to do with the fact that he hasn't been able to keep the white on the table much tonight. So it is a dry break for him, and just the way the night's gone for him, I think it's important for him to keep his head, because he looked a little frustrated at the back end of his last match against Neil. It's a pretty good chance here for Simon. The only ball that was going to require any sort of development was the black. That he has opened it up now, probably not perfectly, because he would have liked the black to go to the corner pocket. I'm not sure if it does, but it definitely goes to the middle, and he should be able to play on it into the middle. He's got balls to do that with.
Very, very important match for both players, I feel. I know we're still just at the end of night 1 of 3 in this second phase of the Premier League, but this feels like a huge, in football terms, a 6-pointer.
Yeah, I just feel it's more for Craig, just simply because Simon had a bit more room to sort of move in terms of being top of the table before tonight started, and it's not all important that you finish 1 or 2. It's just about finishing in the top 4. And yeah, even if he loses this match, he's still going to have it in his own hands. If Craig doesn't win this match, he's going to need results to go his way and be really up against it. So I just feel like there's more pressure on Craig's side of the table.
Yep. If Simon doesn't get a win, I think he could get dragged into a battle for the sort of maybe miss out on the top spot, and it's a battle for the 2nd, 3rd and 4th spot. Probably a battle he'd prefer not to have.
Do you think perhaps they've been unfortunate then, that the way the draws worked out, they get 3 matches tonight, whereas Mark and Neil only had 2? I guess it only really matters if you, depending on how you play in the night, if you get your 3 matches and you get 2 wins and a draw, or 3 wins, it's a great advantage. But if you're like Craig has, you lose your first 2 matches and all of a sudden it builds the pressure. So Simon completes the reverse dish off Craig's break, and that is just going to add to the pressure for Craig, especially if Simon can find a big break in his next frame. And we're going to get a few words with Mark Boyle and find out how he feels about his night's work.
Mark, I guess that feels like a 2 points lost rather than a point gained.
Yeah, it sure does. Being 3-0 up, I feel like I was going to get the win, and then it was just like I started off, the balls went for me with the breaks for the first 3 frames, and then the next 2 went for Simon. Had a good chance in the last, but I just felt the clock was ticking, as they say, because they ended up playing the wrong shot, and then I was I was up against it after that shot.
Simon's nickname is the Boomerang. He's known for his comebacks, and even at 3-0 up, you knew he was going to come straight back at you.
Yeah, you always do. You've got to take your chances. You've got to get balls off the break. If you get a ball off the break, you've got a good chance, but if you don't get a ball, then you're up against it, especially at this level. And
the 30-second shot clock, do you think the players are getting used to it a bit more now that they've had 10-11 weeks of it?
Well, I'm not used to it still. I like it because it makes you go down and there's no lulls in the game. You know, the game's flowing. There's no people walking around the table 5-6 times. You know, like sometimes you can be prone to, if somebody does it against you, it's easy for you to do it and you don't realise it. It just sometimes I think it's too quick, but it makes good telly, so I'm up for it.
And the bounce outs that Neil had in his match just before yours, do they like play in your mind at all when you're playing a tough shot into the centre?
Yeah, because you do think about them. Because I had one in my first shot into the middle. I thought it was going to bounce out. It tried its best to, but it stayed in. But you do think about it sometimes, and it can make you change your shot a wee bit from hitting it hard to hit it a bit softer.
But 4 points overall, pleased with your night's work?
Yeah, I'd have took that at the start of the night, that's for sure. So it sets me up for tomorrow. 3 games tomorrow, so a couple of wins tomorrow should hopefully keep me in the top 4.
Okay, thanks for your time, Mark.
Thanks, Kev.
Yeah, I think that's a fair comment from Mark. It's one of those that at 3-0 up, he'd have been thinking, all right, that's a great night's work, 6 points, but if you'd offered him 4 points before the night started, I'm sure he would have taken it. And I think give it an hour or two, and that's probably how I think about it. But when the match is just finished, you tend to think, is that a couple of points dropped?
Well, I think 4 points is 4 points, and I think you would say that's a good night's work for Mark Boyle.
Oh, no question.
Sets him up nicely for tomorrow night's big assault when he's got his final 3 matches, and puts him with a really great chance of making finals night.
Yeah, and it's an interesting dynamic the way the fixtures fall, that Mark gets to play out all 5 of his matches and isn't involved in the final qualifying night, so he'll be sat at home watching on the telly, just hoping he's done enough to qualify without anything he can do.
Yeah, just a reminder that we're here tonight, tomorrow night, and then next Tuesday at our normal time of 7 o'clock, and then the final 4, the top 4 after Tuesday, we'll play in the semis and the final live on Free Sports on Thursday night. So it's been we're in week 12 of 15, and it's bubbling up nicely to a great climax.
Yeah, that was a very, very classy little last shot from Craig. Finished with more angle than he really wanted on his penultimate red, but played the cannon to perfection and makes no mistake with the final 2 balls. And really, really important visit for Craig Marsh in this Premier League, especially with just the way he finished off against Neil. The frustration was building, dry break in his first frame, but a very, very good response to Simon's reverse dish with one of his own.
Yeah, these two will have played each other many of times over the past few years. Both players very proud Welshmen, and been involved in some great tussles over the last 5-10 years. Both been at the top of the game for a long time. So we can see Simon's form here in the Premier League. started off like a train, 3 wins out of 4, and he's just had the one defeat to Neil Raybone, but been pretty consistent. You can see the last three matches have all been draws, so he'll be certainly not wanting to continue that, because draws may not be enough.
No, it'd be interesting to see how Simon feels after tonight. Obviously, I think you called it at the start. This match is really massively important for him as well. If he manages to win it, 5 points out of 9 when you start top of the table, that's absolutely fine. But if you lose it, 2 points out of 9, all of a sudden, you're under a lot of pressure.
Yeah, and I don't think I've ever seen that before in any of the TV matches. Craig Marsh using the cut break. So he's obviously a little frustrated with how his break's been working or not working tonight, and resorted to the cut break, but still no success. I'm not sure that's the best way for Craig to break, to be honest. I mean, he's such a natural timer and cure of the ball,
I think we saw it with his first break in this match. That I think the fact that he's just lost control of the white 2 or 3 times tonight and screwed straight into the corner pocket. When he hit his first break, he just didn't quite get the power through the ball. Almost worried about where the white was going, and when you start doing that, you're not really queuing through it nicely. And I think that frustration's building, and he's now resorting to the cut break, which is, as you say, it's very unlike Craig Marsh.
Yeah, well, after a dry break there, I'm not sure he'll stick with it much longer. Simon may well take this one over the centre next. You could say it could be his last ball for the black. It depends where he wants to take the black. Does he want to take it down the rail, or does he want to double it? If he wants to take it down the rail, then he needs to make sure that he finishes low on the red nearest the centre, if that is going to be his last ball.
He's controlled that really nicely, isn't he? It's all about pace on that shot, isn't it? It's so easy to leave the red on the cushion or overhit it. He played it really well controlled.
You probably would have liked just another inch. He needs to be below the centre pocket. I'm not sure he's got the right angle there. He can't play it off the yellow. So the yellow cover the black. Maybe he's just okay.
Yeah, just pinched a little bit of the pocket, and absolutely fine. Still a good black required. Still a good pot needed.
Dicing with the centre pocket there. I think he's probably having to swerve this. Yeah, he's having to put a little bit of swerve on this. Oh, what a shot.
Brilliant.
That is a superb shot there from Simon Ward to swerve the white around the yellow, get the perfect contact on the black. Great shot.
I think the thing I like about that, obviously it's a fantastic shot when you can't see the full potting angle. It's brilliant. But I do a lot of commentary, and I'm watching the players' reaction to see whether they're on the next ball. And I watched Simon then, and he reacted to me just like he was, not a problem, I'm on this, and he wasn't.
Just looking at Craig's Premier League scores, it's been a bit of a mixed bag from Craig. Started off fairly poorly, only 3 draws from his first 4 games. Managed to win 2 out of the next 3, and secured his place in the top 6. But it's been a struggle for him.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how the rest of this match plays out. So much pressure on both players, and we'll find out after the break. Welcome back to the Free Sports Premier League, and we join our final match of the night. And it's currently 2-1 to Simon Ward in the Battle of the Welshmen. All three frames are reverse dishes from dry breaks, and it'll be interesting to see if that pattern continues or if someone can make a break and change that.
That's a crazy stat for two of the biggest breakers in the game, but all three breaks have been dry, and I mean, the reverse dish is no surprise. They're great players, but the fact that they can't put a ball between them after 3 attempts is quite something.
Yeah, it really is. Can Simon change the pattern? Wow.
Oh, no, he can't.
How is that dry? We're both waiting for the yellow at the top right to drop, and it doesn't.
Again, it wasn't one of his best. It was a good break, but by his standards, but not the best contact.
Yeah, you can see by the number of balls in the bottom half of the table. Normally for Simon, he's so powerful that if anything, he'll have more balls in the top half and much more wide open and even split. Having said that, it's still opened up nicely enough that this is a very, very good chance for Craig Marsh to make it 4 reverse dishes on the trot to start this match.
And there's very little to stop him. It's just about dotting the I's and crossing the T's, I feel, for these. I mean, he's not wasting much time. He knows he doesn't need to have to waste too much mental energy thinking about this clearance. He's got to be careful of the plant, but shouldn't be too much problem. In probably less than a minute, Craig is going to tie things up. Just a little bit under on the black. Just rushed that one a little bit, didn't give it enough care and attention. Should still get this, but you never know. There it goes.
And there it is, 4 reverse dishes on the trot to start this match. A pretty incredible statistic, that 4 dry breaks, 4 reverse dishes. As you say, it's not the reverse dishes, it's the dry breaks that are a surprise.
Yeah, a little wry smile there.
So it's going to be an interesting. We've got 2 frames left tonight. 2 frames left in this match. Both players need both of them. If both of them, if they share them 1-1, it's not great for either of them. Better for Simon than it is for Craig, but will be very interesting to see how these 2 frames play out. I think we're in for a twist or a bit of drama somewhere.
There usually is. And we can see Craig's best performances on the IPA circuit over the last couple of years.
And there's the big one in the February 2017, beating Simon Fitzsimons 4-1 in the World Championship final. And that's as good as I've seen Craig play that week. He really was just relentless. Absolutely more than deserved the title. Brilliant performance. And you see, that's not the only title he's got on that list either.
Yep, several titles now. It's gone back to almost a normal break, and incredibly, it's dry again. I'm not sure what he's got left to try in terms of the break. He's moved it to the side and hit the front ball this time. But whatever he does, it's not working.
Yeah,
So
hit that break much better than he did in his first break of the night and first break of the match and the cut break he had. But it's still dry. It's not as good a split this time for Simon. He's got work everywhere on this table, whether it be reds or yellows. He has got plenty of work.
absolutely, there's nothing easy here. This is going to take a lot of working out.
Do you think he can play this plant and possibly come twice across the table to develop the other red?
That's exactly what he's
We
looking
can do
at.
it. We can do it once. Didn't know if he could get enough side on it, but he could. But Unfortunately, it's a missed pot.
First missed pot in frame 5.
Of course, it's not a disaster for him. He does have the bottom right-hand corner pocket sewn up. And of course, the red that's nearest Craig's hand is a problem ball as well. So no thoughts of the finish for Craig, and a very, very good safety.
Yeah, a bit of a collector's item there. A Craig Marsh safety shot. You don't see many of those. Not when the balls are fairly open. But he realises the importance of these next 2 frames, particularly the next frame, particularly this frame, should I say. If he loses it, then it's looking a bit grim for his future progress in the Premier League. But if he can manage to somehow get a victory, he's right back in it.
It's going to be tricky for Craig here because the yellow that's at the top of the table is so far away from the rest. It's going to be hard for him to develop that ball. And if he wants to play safe, then he's going to have a real tough job of doing it because of where Simon's balls are placed. So it'll be interesting to see whether he does attempt another safety or whether he looks to be a bit more aggressive. And that hasn't helped the situation. Just tied up. The ball he cannoned into has just been gone a little bit awkward. I think he can still work that area out, but he needed to be cannoning into either of his bad balls in a shot or two's time, not developing another one. He's already used his extension, so he doesn't have much time to work something out here.
Just fires in a double.
I think the top one of those 2 that are welded together does go into the centre pocket. It certainly go into the other centre pocket if needed.
Well, that's unlucky. Played a great shot into the centre bag. Wasn't fazed by any possibility of a bounce out, and just unluckily the yellow's just stayed close to the red.
Yeah, and to make it worse, the other red's gone across and blocked the black as well. So creating more problems with every shot at the moment.
So has it just gone in the... No. So Simon Ward in the box seat in this frame. Yet more frustration for Craig.
Not exactly what Simon would have wanted, but you know, he had margin of error. It knows that there's not a lot Craig can do to make something happen here. It's just about developing his own balls.
That's a good shot.
Yeah, Craig will be thrilled with that. That's a great outcome. Great shot. Try and make that area awkward, and he's achieved that. So a similar situation to the one that Simon faced earlier in the night. He knows he's ahead in this frame. It's just a case of waiting until it's the right time to go for the finish. Just trying to quietly open up the balls, keep Craig from being able to do too much.
He could be tempted to free up his yellow up near the top end of the table. With the yellow and the red at the bottom right hand corner, he may think that's enough insurance to take a gamble.
It's one of those though, isn't it? You're playing one of the best players in the world. You open it up and you're kind of almost inviting the finish, and you know how good your opponent is. It just puts a bit of pressure on that shot.
Absolutely, yeah. I just thought he may just push the boat a little bit, just force Simon into it. But he's keeping it tight.
There's an argument for doing it now that the red that's in between, next to the black, I don't think that pots. So you've got two problems at the bottom end of the table for Simon. Definitely an argument for getting it out now, I think.
Here it comes. Oh, he doesn't want to. Oh, does that red go past the two yellows? No, don't think it does.
No, I don't think it does either.
I think they might force Simon's hand here. I think he's going to have to.
It's tricky, isn't it? He could play a snooker. Oh, that does go.
Oh, I think that does go, yeah. I think it might just sneak past.
Oh, now that does go, I think you're absolutely right. I think it does. It is definitely worth the finish. He's going to be unlucky if that black gets tied up. But you think, just looking at he's looking at it now, that might be a big pocket for the black into the left centre pocket. So if you leave the red along the bottom rail to the bottom left as your last rule, you can leave yourself straight on that black to the centre.
Yep, sending this white up to the top three balls at the top of the table.
Oh, this could be a disaster.
I think that's blocked each other.
Yeah, that's end of the thoughts of finishing from here. That's he was expecting that red to go a bit more into the middle of the table, and it's come back to block his pot, and now he's in trouble.
Just going to play a little safety, but just try and wedge that white ball in between those two reds. That's a good shot. What that does do is stop the up and down for Craig, I think.
Yeah, he's played that very, very well. It wasn't that tough to get the snooker, but if you leave Craig a one cushion up and down, not only is he going to get out of it, you fully expect him to pot from it. From where he is now, this is tough.
Only got a smaller area to get in. Looks good. Is very good. And that shot could win him the frame.
Yeah, he's gone huge favourite with that shot. Not entirely sure what Simon was attempting there.
So I think we should say just was looking to develop the two reds.
Just opening it up. He knew he was in a world of pain with the way it was left. Had nothing attacking to go at, nothing safety-wise to go at. And only 30 seconds to find something. Not the greatest shot from Craig. You could see what he was trying to do. He's trying to cover the two reds at the top of the table and force Simon to play this red, but the yellow he played onto it, he's probably overhit a fraction.
He just got a little double kiss there, I think, that stopped his snooker attempt. He just wanted to bounce that red off a touch in front of the white. Just got a little double kiss and stopped him getting that snooker. But he's making a bit of hash of this, to be honest. He's had a couple of shots now to develop those yellows, and he's not really played very good shots.
Can he snick this into the top left and swing it round?
I think that's what he's looking at. He's got the
Oh,
pot.
Simon
Has he
Ward.
got the plant? Oh,
What an effort. And that's the problem with exactly what you were saying with Craig. He's been a touch fortunate that this hasn't come out better for Simon, that he needed to do more on his previous two safety shots.
yeah, fraction, a centimetre either side of that red would have given him a better outcome.
So you can't help but feel now's the time for Craig Marsh. Yes, he has one on the rail. But I think unless he goes for it now, I don't think, it's not going to get any easier for him. And we've already seen the shot-making ability of Simon Ward that, you don't want to risk giving him another attempt to do something.
It's like a straightforward plan to somehow take a 3-2 lead. Just put this, leave the white there. Or screw back. And this pretty easy black to take a 3-2 lead.
Yeah, so Craig, he guarantees himself his first point of the night, but he knows full well that 1 point probably isn't enough from 3 matches tonight. Needs to get the win. And Simon once again, I'd love to see that reaction from Craig. Still smiling. But for Simon, once again, he needs to win the last match, the last frame of the night to get the draw.
Yeah, so the best Craig can hope for is to get to 16 points. And it's sort of in the hands of Gareth Hibbert a little bit to try and overhaul Craig.
Yeah, you sort of feel like if Craig gets to, if he gets the win and goes to 16 points, you feel like it's still in, he's still in control. It's still in his hands. He's going to be, you know, level on points with 4th place. Yes, he's played one more match, but with everyone playing everyone, you feel like it's still in his control. If he only ends up with a draw, he's struggling. He needs results to go his way.
Yep, he's got Jimmy Carney and Gareth Hibbert left to play. Oh, it's incredible.
Yeah, quite incredible. That's 6 dry breaks from these 2 fantastic breakers of balls, if that is such a saying.
Yeah, I think they'll be looking for a refund on their break cues.
Yeah, I mean, and look at the way this table's come out. This is exactly as Craig Marsh would have sat in his chair and hoped for. It's in his hands.
This should be well, it should be easy pickings for Craig, but you just never can tell. He's not. I think he wanted to be a bit more to the left of this red, into the top left corners. We're looking, so he's already started to make this a lot harder than it should have been. So he's now got to work out how he's going to get back down for the red into the same corner pocket. Can that white just glide past?
I think he's on it.
I think he's just got there. But it's a thin one.
It's really interesting to see his thought pattern there. A lot of players, having made the mistake previously on the positional side, would have thought, okay, I'll leave that till last. But that's when it can go wrong. Craig has gone straight back after it, knowing, you know, his ball away from the rest is a bad ball.
So he could play to move the red on the cushion, or he could play on it. Probably try and move it. Should be a free go to move it, so why wouldn't you? But that's the danger. Now he's got to play another good positional shot.
Yeah, it's gone as awkward as it possibly could. Very difficult to get a good positional shot off the one over the corner pocket. One that's right in the jaws. This is tough.
Is there another twist?
That's well played. It's
It needs
just short though. Thought that when he hit it, I thought that's going to land perfect, but it's just short enough to be a problem.
Biggest shot of the Premier League for Craig Marsh coming up.
I'm quite surprised that he missed it, but I'm very surprised that he missed it by as far as he did. It was tough, it was missable, but I'm still surprised.
Extension called.
Yeah, he was playing that with a lot of left-hand side and just misjudged it. So, is Simon Ward going to steal his third point of the night? Every match he's been 3-2 down or worse, and potentially he could.
I'm a little bit surprised with his shot choice there. I thought maybe one good safety and then go for the finish. He saw it differently. Felt very confident on that plant, but also knew that he wasn't leaving Craig a pot should he miss.
Well, not a direct pot, but Craig could try to conjure something up here.
Extension called.
It's probably his last chance. Ward will be going for these if he gets back to the table.
Thought we might see some crazy fluke there in the centre pocket, but not quite. So it is going to be Simon Ward with a great chance here to draw his third match of the night. The three at the top of the table that look messy, they're not. They plant, and once he plants them, they open up. So the only ball that really he needs to consider is the yellow on the left-hand side, just below the middle pocket. That's the only one that he needs to get good position on and make down the rail.
Made sure that there was no chance of what happened a frame or two back, where he played the plant and the reds got in each other's way and prevented having a pot. So these are nice and open. As you say, Simon, it's going to boil down to this yellow on the left cushion.
Yeah, it looks like he's got a lovely little angle just to be able to screw down behind it.
Just used all of the pocket there, played it at the right pace, made the pocket as big as possible. And yet again, Simon Ward's going to perform a Houdini act in the Premier League.
Yeah, it'd be very interesting, should Simon go on to complete this finish, how he feels about his night's work. He could easily have walked away from tonight with no points. He's going to end up with 3 points, and okay, it's not what he was looking for when he came in, but he's still got qualification in his own hands. And he does complete the draw for the third time tonight. Quite incredible. And Craig's going to be very frustrated on that drive back to Swansea when he think about that missed pot. That missed pot when he was looking all but certain to go 4-2 up and get his first win of the night. He's missed it. He didn't get good position on it, and it's ended in a draw. But the surprising statistic when we look at the stats is definitely the 6 dry breaks, 3 each. Both these guys got massive breaks, so a real surprise to see that happen. And 2 reverse dishes each. It's just the other 2 frames where the drama was. And, they shared those 1 apiece, and it will be a point apiece each.
Yeah, the stats say it all. Very evenly matched, nothing in them, and a fair result, 3-all.
And that's what it means to the table. It puts Craig Marsh in quite a bit of trouble. He's had 3 of his 5 matches in Phase 2, and he's still 2 points adrift from Mark Boyle in 4th place. For Simon Ward, he's had 3 of his matches as well, and his 3 draws means he finishes top of the table tonight. It's all in his own hands. He's still got work to do, but for Neil Raybone and Mark Boyle only playing 2 matches tonight, they'll be very pleased with their night's work. Mark Boyle coming from the 6th position to move himself into a qualifying spot, and Neil Raybone just continuing to move up the table nicely.
Yep, still all to play for really. Anything can happen, and it's been very tight tonight. 3 matches at 3-all, and the other 2 4-2. So it's still too close to call. Marsh will be relying on people like Gareth Hibbert not winning too many points tomorrow night, and people like Jimmy Carney and Raybone, they'll be looking at that top spot.
And there we go, there are the fixtures for tomorrow night. As you mentioned, Gareth Hibbert moves on to Phase 2 and plays his first matches in Phase 2, as does Jimmy Carney. And Mark Boyle and Neil Raybone will play 3 matches each tomorrow and will complete their Phase 2. And we've got all that action to come tomorrow night. But for now, from everyone here at Solihull, good night.